CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hello, good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Wednesday, May 27th. We're looking at a mainly clear start to the day. 9 degrees out there right now. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you and good morning. Savage police arresting 7 people yesterday in a barricading incident in the 100 block of Battleford Avenue. That ended up closing that route for about 3 hours. Officers called a report of a break-and-enter in progress. They say several suspects entered a home on the street and wouldn't leave. The emergency response team, GVERT, and police dogs were called in. The situation was resolved about 3.5 hours later. No word on any charges at this point. Major sewage leak is a horrifying term to hear in any neighborhood, but that's what people in the Comox Valley Regional District are dealing with. Residents in Comox, Courtenay, and the Comox First Nation being told not to flush until further notice due to an ongoing emergency incident. The warning also includes not being in or on the ocean on small craft, including kayaks and paddleboards near the shoreline and around the Goose Spit and Comox Marina. Residents also being asked to keep their pets away from beaches, shoreline areas, mudflats, and estuary access points while they deal with the cleanup. One of the changes in the 2026 provincial budget was around property tax deferral for seniors. The BC Conservatives are upset that seniors now have to pay interest in order to get that tax deferred. Finance Minister Brenda Bailey explains the change.
People were using that money as inexpensive money to make investments. In fact, if you went on to, for example, Scotiabank to look at their private wealth management, you would see guidance on how to use this money. That is not appropriate. It's not appropriate for taxpayers to cover the costs for investors to get low-cost money. That's the change we're making. We are making these loans available at Prime Plus 2. That is a reasonable rate. The senior does not have to pay any change in their monthly fees at all. If they want to defer their property tax, they can pay that at the time they sell their house.
The Finance Minister says the intent of the program is to help seniors remain in place for the time being. Tense moments between Canada's premiers yesterday at that meeting, the second day of meetings in Kananaskis. CTV's Kathy Lee has details.
I disagree profoundly with Premier Smith's referendum. I think it is a huge mistake.
The debate comes after a judge struck down the Stay Free Alberta separation petition, ruling First Nations were not adequately consulted.
The issue, I think, in the court is whether that duty to consult should apply to citizen-initiated petitions. And that's where I think that the court erred in judgment.
I think we know that is not correct, a lot of what you just said there, Premier Smith. It is not up to the petition gatherers to fulfill the duty to consult. It is up to you as the Alberta government.
That was Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew. He says Alberta should pause its fall separation vote for a year or two while pipelines and other mega projects get built. Kinew was speaking directly to Danielle Smith at the end of that 2-day meeting in Kananaskis. Smith's office says there's no plan to delay the vote, which is expected, the referendum question, to be held on October 19th. A report from the Canadian Chamber of Commerce says a small group of cities across this country is driving Canada's progress on diversifying trade, while other cities and communities are falling behind.
The report says Calgary, Ottawa, Gatineau, Toronto, Saskatoon, and Kelowna, BC are among the cities making the strongest gains in export diversification beyond the U.S. market. It says many other cities in Canada aren't seeing the same shift, and manufacturing regions in Ontario continue to face weaker overall trade performance. Now, the report says the data suggests many businesses still expect Canada-U.S. trade conditions to stabilize, though trade conditions are likely to remain volatile for the time being. This as the federal government has set out to double non-U.S. exports over the next decade, and the government's spring economic update says non-U.S. goods and services exports increased by $33 billion in 2025 compared to 2024. David Augustine, The Canadian Press.
And questions for all of why Canada is being left out in FIFA World Cup ticket lotteries that are being offered in cities like New York this week. CTV's Andrew Johnson has details.
Tickets will cost only $50.
New Yorkers priced out of the World Cup have a shot every day this week at $50 tickets in a daily lottery.
If I win, I'll be there.
Mayor Zoran Mamdani negotiated the approval to sell discount tickets to the public with FIFA President Gianni Infantino. That got us thinking about Canada's 2 host cities and why affordable tickets are not being offered to the public here.
Good point. So far, all we know is the majority of tickets purchased by Vancouver and Toronto are set to be resold through sponsorship programs to offset the hosting costs. The games begin in about 2 weeks from now. The first game in Vancouver will be Australia versus Turkey on June 13th. That's your news to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. Do you agree with the province's decision to reinstate the Greater Victoria School Board trustees? 80% saying no right now. That's on our website, cfax1070.com. You can also vote on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 6:06.
Thank you, Lisa, and good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. Sunshine today. We have highs of 23 degrees eventually, but right now we're sitting at 9. At least at the Victoria International Airport. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, it's the sports. Where to start? Let's start in the NHL playoffs, where the Vegas Golden Knights are heading to the Stanley Cup Final. Oh, there was supposed to be some sound playing there.
That was bad timing.
Yeah, let's hit it. It was going to go like this.
He has Stone on the break. He's got it.
That's better. If you're a Vegas fan, much better.
Imagine that's what happened. Yeah. Anyways, Mark Stone and Cole Smith all scored. Carter Hart made 20 saves. And the Vegas Golden Knights punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final with a 2-1 victory over the visiting Colorado Avalanche. So there you go. That is the end of the West. We now see who's going to play them in the final. Could it be the Montreal Canadiens? Well, they look to level their best-of-7 Eastern Conference final at 2 games apiece. They could do that when they host the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. After opening in the NHL playoff series with a convincing 6-2 victory, the Canadiens have now lost back-to-back overtime games and have struggled to generate shots and offense. So Game 5 is, the next... Tonight's the Game 4. Game 5 will be back in Raleigh, North Carolina, and that'll be on Friday. There's the schedule there. By the way, the host Kelowna Rockets are playing the Western Hockey League champion Everett Silvertips in the final round robin game of the Memorial Cup tournament. The unbeaten Kitchener Rangers, who beat the Chicoutimi Saguenayens 3-2 last night, earned a berth in Sunday's final. Rockets need a win tonight to force a tiebreaker game on Thursday. If the Silvertips win, they'll play the Saguenayens in Friday's semifinal. And Toronto Blue Jays will be aiming to win today's rubber match of their 3-game series with the visiting Miami Marlins today. Right-hander Kevin Gausman will be on the mound for the Jays, who played long ball in beating the Marlins 8-1 last night. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports at 6:09. 6:10 on Wednesday morning. What's happening in traffic? Well, so far the roads are quite clear at this early stage of the commute. If you see a crash, accident, or some other problem out there, do text me at 71010. But right now, looking clear as a bell for the commuting volumes. For BC Ferries, we've still got lots of room on the 7 o'clock sailing from Sports Bay to Sawasan. No sailing waits ahead of you. And in the weather forecast, it's going to be getting sunny today. We'll have a high of 23 degrees, but feeling a little warmer with a bit of mugginess eventually kind of coming into the day. A humidex of 25 expected. But on the flip side, cooler by the water, so near the Juan de Fuca Strait, more like 18 degrees today. A few clouds tonight, a little wind off the Juan de Fuca Strait, lows down to 11. Tomorrow, it's mainly sunny. Could be a bit breezy. Highs of 21 degrees. Friday, mix of sun and cloud, highs of 18. Saturday and Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, highs in the high teens. So it stays pretty much sunny and dry throughout the next few days. We just sort of gradually cool off by a couple of degrees here and there as we get into the weekend. Right now for temperatures around the region, let's see. We've got in Oak Bay along the water, 11 degrees. It's 9 degrees at the Victoria International Airport. On the markets, opening bells ringing a little later this hour, so let's set up the day by taking a look at how yesterday closed with Aaron Sousa.
Canada's main stock index slipped yesterday. Toronto's S&P TSX lost 177 points to close at 34,653. In New York, the Dow lost 118, but the Nasdaq gained 312. In Tokyo this morning, the Nikkei ticked up by 3 points. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong lost 271. Our dollar is trading this morning at 72.33 cents US. U.S. President Donald Trump's trade representative says even after a renegotiation of CUSMA, there still will be tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Jameson Greer says Canada has resisted Trump's tariffs more than other countries. A report says just a handful of Canadian cities are leading the charge to diversify trade beyond the U.S. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce says Calgary, Toronto, and Kelowna are among the leaders. And Canada's Natural Resources Minister is in Vancouver for an announcement about international energy exports. This as a German company is reportedly set to buy natural gas from a $10 billion project. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Thanks for making CFAX a part of your morning as we kick off Wednesday. How you doing over there, Lisa Best, on the news desk?
I'm doing good over here on the news desk, holding things down, as it were.
You will. Lots going on in the news today, of course, so we'll be getting to all of that over the course of the day, talking to some of the newsmakers, as we always do, and then getting into some, mischief and tangents, as we always do as well.
I like tangents.
Me too.
Mischief, I visit. I'm a tourist now with the mischief. Yeah.
You're a tourist
There's
in mischief land.
There's a certain age where you look at mischief and you go like, no, I'm going to bypass that.
So you're just a tourist with the mischief?
With some things,
okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I feel like getting a T-shirt sometimes. Just a tourist, just passing through. Don't you feel that about life sometimes? You still want to get it on you?
That's true, I guess.
But I don't. You do you.
It depends on the degree of mischief.
Right?
Like there's a small degree of mischief, which is, I think, important to keep life interesting.
And then when mischief just gets too much, it just becomes drama.
Yeah. You don't want that.
No.
I just realized it is a fine line to walk in life. That's one of those life skills you got to pick up. What is the correct amount of mischief?
You don't want too much mischief sticking to you because then it's just drama.
Do you know who's up to mischief?
Who?
Crows.
Oh, huge. This time of year?
Yeah, apparently this is that season where they start dive bombing people.
They're super smart, you know?
Yeah.
They're in my neighborhood. They're walking around like they own the place. They're probably packing something. I don't know. But I offered them a little treat every once in a while.
Do you? Do you do like a peace offering to the crows?
They look at me.
Really?
They look at me and they size me up. Apparently a crow can recognize up to 7 faces or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're smart. They're smart. And ravens too, right? So I figure I want to be on their good side.
So you give it an offering?
Just
like food?
I don't feed them all the time. Every once in a while, it's like, oh, I've got this leftover cracker. Would you like it? And they kind of size me up. I'm like, maybe I should give that to you so you don't dive bomb me when I'm doing laundry.
Interesting. Well, it is that time of year where that's starting to happen because I guess it's nesting season.
Yes, it
is. So they're
is.
just being protective. What do we need to know about crow dive bombing season, and what are some tips for not getting dive bombed? Josh and Jade actually had a fascinating conversation about this yesterday. So I'm going to share some of those revelations with you in just a few moments.
Like it.
And I'll also tell you about a different animal that's about to start being, all up in your business
Drama?
because of babies. It always seems to be the thing with wildlife. The reason they're doing it.
Are we talking locally?
Yeah.
So you must be talking about deer then.
You might be right, but you'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, we'll just wait. I'll be over here on the news desk.
And what is happening on that news desk, Lisa?
BC's Attorney General says it is rare to reopen a court case as significant as the landmark Cowichan Tribe's title decision, but the government supports an effort to do so by the largest private property owner in the title area. Nikki Sharma says Montrose Properties will be able to bring forward details about how it's been affected by the ruling that Aboriginal title is a senior interest compared to fee simple title. Montrose owns about 120 hectares in the overall title area of 300 hectares granted by the judge, but the court didn't hear from private landowners during the initial case. So the company is asking a BC Supreme Court judge in Victoria to reopen that case. The company says it wants the case reopened because it doesn't have the time for a years-long appeal process. Amid Canada's uncertain trading relationship with the U.S., we continue to get hints that tariffs may not be going away anytime soon. Donald Trump's trade czar, Jameson Greer, confirmed yesterday that even if the Canada-U.S. Mexico trade agreement is reaffirmed during the negotiations this summer, which is supposed to be reaffirmed by July 1st, we'll see if that date sticks, the tariffs will not be dropped. Greer says U.S. officials are still bothered by some of the trade challenges they have with Canada. And a new TD survey shows BCers are finding it a challenge to plan for summer fun without breaking their budget. 34% of us plan to spend less this summer. Among those cutting back, 56% redirecting spending towards essentials like groceries, fuel, and housing. Check, check, check. 48% say higher fuel costs are affecting their travel decision. That's a big one. And 41% don't plan to purchase travel insurance. And that is your news to 617.
Texter at 71010 says, as you get older, you realize a little mischief is good for the soul.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Agreed. A little.
A dab.
Exactly.
Sprinkling.
You got to walk the mischief line correctly.
Yeah. Well, it makes people wonder what you're up to, too.
Yeah.
You get that look on your face.
Well, speaking of mischief, we're talking about crows in a few moments. They're dive bombing again. They do this every year at this time, but let's look into that. We'll also check traffic and weather. If you see a problem out there, maybe Cook Street's still being paved and it's causing you trouble, which it is.
Still being paved.
Yeah.
It's just the other direction now.
Oh,
and
they
Cook and
flipped it?
Kiwanis is a little tight now because there's lots of cones up.
Right.
Don't hit the cones.
Yeah, that's
Damage your
going
bumper.
on. What else is happening? Let us know at 710. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It's all brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season and big savings on your heating bill, talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. They're designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. What we were just mentioning, the paving work on Cook, either side of Finlayson, it's still slowing things up, so watch out for that. It continues all this week. If you see any other issues out there on the roads, text us at 71010. But right now, no crashes, no accidents right now. Very light volume delays out of the West Shore because it's just, early in the morning. This is not the time where things have really picked up as of yet, traditionally. For the BC ferries, no sailing waits. 7 o'clock is fine. Coming up for vehicle deck space. And in the weather forecast, it's improving as well. Mainly sunny today, highs of 23. Expect a bit of mugginess in the air, a humidex of 25, so feeling like 25 degrees in the humidity with little cooler conditions by the water. Few clouds tonight, little wind, lows to 11. Tomorrow it's going to cool off a bit. We'll see a bit more breeze into the day. Still mainly sunny though, and that's kind of what we're going to see for the next few days. Mostly sunny, few clouds here and there. By the time we hit the weekend, the temperatures are in the high teens instead of the low 20s, so we're just kind of gradually cooling off a little bit, but otherwise staying fairly stable for the next few days. Right now for temperatures, things are shifting as the sun is up and we're getting into the day. For downtown Victoria, you're sitting at 11 degrees. In Langford right now, it is 9.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Yeah, you know that sound. There's a crow.
How's that for bird break?
I actually considered, speaking of mischief, I considered doing the bird break, but I thought that's just so counter to the spirit of the calm, peaceful bird break nature.
We're all awake now watching our hair.
Yeah, what's happening? Nobody finds peace in crow sounds.
No.
I think most birds have lovely, peaceful sounds, and then there's the crow. I think seagulls are the same. Those are two birds that just don't make you feel calm. I mostly because...
Do it again.
The crow? You want to hear the crow again? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Coming at you. Here it comes. Yeah, not calm.
There's an Indigenous legend about crows. And I remember I learned it as a child when I was living in Cold Lake, Alberta, that the crow traded its voice to one of the gods for something else. Maybe it was an intelligence or something. But it gave up apparently it had a beautiful singing voice, and it gave up its voice to that sound as a trade-off. I'm trying to remember that. Maybe someone else knows this, but it was really interesting in all these legends that how animals get their sounds or things that make them distinct. And it is a very distinct sound. It's not one we particularly find pleasant, but it's distinct. I do like the sound of the ravens when they're talking. That's really interesting, but crows in the neighborhood, yeah. They're there because they make their presence known.
And maybe we feel that way because of the possibility of them dive bombing you, which is starting to happen again because it is the season.
Have you had it happen?
I have, not this season, but I have had it happen to me before. I'll tell you a story in a moment. But Jackie McQuillian with the Wildlife Rescue Association spoke to Josh and Jade on CFAX yesterday about the fact that the season is here.
As we move into the end of May, it is high time for crow nesting season. So over the last few weeks, we've seen crows flying all over the place carrying nesting material. And now many of them have eggs. And over the next few weeks, we're going to see many crow babies. And that results in that very intensely protective behavior.
All right, so that's what's going on. It's all about the babies. And she had an interesting tip. If you've got a crow that's particularly troublesome, like maybe there's a place you got to walk by all the time and there's a crow dive bombing you, here's her tip.
Yeah, a hat is certainly helpful, but almost every person, in southern BC has an umbrella. An umbrella is a really useful tool when you're passing through an area where there's a young crow that is maybe on the ground and learning how to fly, or you've got some very protective parents nearby. If you just carry the umbrella, the parents will not come underneath the umbrella. So that's a great way to keep yourself safe.
So pack an umbrella.
I use a tennis racket.
I like that. That's even better.
I don't swing it at them. I just hold it over my head.
Yeah?
Because
and it sort of obscures you enough?
Well, no. If you're going to fly at my head, you're going to ram yourself into the tennis racket. And they're smart birds, so they're not going to do that. So I just hold it up right above my head, and it stopped them from, because they're obviously not going to fly into the tennis rackets. They're smarter than that.
Huh.
Well, it's whatever you got, right?
Well,
If
what?
you
Yeah.
open an umbrella on a day like today, it's going to rain.
Oh, yeah,
Or
exactly.
inside,
So
that's
you don't
bad
want to.
luck.
You don't want to bring
It's
the
inside,
rain.
that's bad luck. Yeah.
So
That's funny.
the biggest problem I ever had was when the CFAX studios used to be downtown at the corner of Broad and
Yes.
Pandora. There was a year where a nest had shown up right in front of our building.
Oh.
And so if you were just trying to walk to work or, in the vicinity of work, you would get this crow coming at you,
Yeah.
and it would dive bomb you. It would come, and I remember it was the first time I'd ever had one make contact.
They lift your hair.
Yeah, they get into your hair, and that just freaked me out. So that's always what I think of when I think of this. And yeah, if I knew that I would have to repeatedly run the gauntlet of this crow, maybe an umbrella or a tennis racket would have been a good idea back then. I think I just used to flip my coat kind of over my head and run for it.
That would do. It works as, that anything like that, or your hands above your head. But still, it's the fact that something's dive bombing you from behind.
Yeah.
It's a little bit terrifying, even though it's, a much smaller animal.
Now, it is also almost the season for another animal to start getting aggressive with us. Not quite yet, but, just as the crows are doing their thing, we're going to get the deer.
Yeah, so it is also a high time for deer to be having their fawns. I know as we move into kind of late May, mid-June, many does have given birth or are about to, and when their fawns are nearby, they also become intensely protective. Again, those parental instincts kick in, and they're going to do what they need to. So with deer, once they've had their fawns, they often hide their fawns in tall grasses while mom goes around and, she has to continue to eat so that she can feed them milk. So if she notices that people are getting too close to where she's hidden them, she may kind of start to get a little bit more defensive or what appears to be aggressive to us. So this is another situation where we just ask people to just be aware, when you're out with your dog right now, definitely keeping dogs on leash, because they're going to have a tendency to want to chase, and that will further aggravate the doe and will probably lead to her acting more aggressively. And, as even just a person walking without a dog, when you see deer, just pay attention to their behavior. And if your movements, your activities are changing what they're doing, that's a good clue that you're too close. So, for example, when I'm out in my neighborhood and I see that there's a deer on somebody's lawn and they're eating, if they stop eating and start staring at me, that means I'm too close, because they're now paying attention to me because they think I'm a predator. So I might just kind of either detour my route, or if, I'm on the near side of the street, I'm going to cross over the street and go to the other side just to give them the space that they need.
That is Jackie McQuillan, Wildlife Rescue Association member, speaking to Josh and Jade yesterday afternoon on CFAX, just about some of these different animals at this season. As they have their babies, sometimes they get a little bit in our faces, and that's why.
Or a lot in our faces. Okay, so here I have a question regarding that.
Yeah.
And we're going to go into the news time a little bit with this. So I'm driving along Fairfield, and there's two ladies walking along the north side of Ross Bay Cemetery, that big hedge there.
Yeah.
And there are 2-3 deer eating the hedge on the sidewalk ahead of them.
Okay.
There's no crosswalk for them to cross the road. The traffic is busy. And I could see the look on their faces like, what should we do here as they're approaching? So they're only about 10 feet away from the deer at this point. The deer were ignoring them, but still, it's not a kind of animal you want to brush past.
They're pretty big.
And they're also a wild animal.
Yeah.
Deer, doe, they have very sharp little hooves. That's the problem. You don't realize they don't have to have the pointy ends on their head in order for deer to do damage. And that's what happens with animals. People think, oh, Bambi's fine. And then they try to pet them in Banff and Canmore, and they have trouble. They have sharp little hooves. So, steering clearing is one thing, and having your dog on a leash is, I think, paramount, because you do not want your dog chasing. If the deer turns on your dog, you've got a vet bill or worse. But if the deer is in your way of somewhere you need to go,
what do you do?
Exactly. Yeah. So share your deer story, because, any tips from maybe what you've done with trying to, corral a deer out of your way would be helpful.
Or you got crows in your life, whatever it is, 71010. Join the conversation. But we'll take a break right now. 6:30 News next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Join Capital Bike for Spring Go By Bike Week, May 30th to June 5th. Register and find celebration stations at gobuybikebc.ca. Sign up for the Walk for Alzheimer's Sunday, May 31st at Fisherman's Wharf. More info at walkforalzheimers.ca.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 6:31 on Wednesday, May 27th. So we're looking at a day that's going to be mostly sunny, even a little humid feeling. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Taking a look at the summer forecast, the turbulent spring could offer a preview of our upcoming summer. The Weather Network releasing its seasonal forecast for the 3-month period of June, July, and August, our key summer months. Senior meteorologist Doug Gillum says the transition to El Nino is expected to make it hard for hot and dry weather to lock into place over some regions, but not BC.
That's a huge concern. The combination of warmer than normal temperatures and below normal precipitation during a season that is typically dry for BC. Wildfires and air quality are a huge concern for that region.
It is shaping up to be a warmer and drier than normal summer this season in BC, raising the risk of drought and wildfires. So far, we've actually done okay with the cooler, slightly wet weather. Currently, 20 active wildfires in BC, according to the BC Wildfire Dashboard. No fires have started in the last 24 hours, and there are no new fires burning on Vancouver Island. BC urban mayors have been meeting in Victoria this week. They've called on the province to take immediate and meaningful action on the critical issues facing communities across BC. In a news release, they point to the need for stronger provincial leadership and partnership on key priorities, including housing affordability, public safety, infrastructure funding, mental health and addictions, and homelessness. And the response to it, Victoria Mayor Marin Alto says nearly 2 years into this government's mandate, and urban mayors are looking for the province to follow through on their commitments. BC's Education Minister Lisa Bear says legal errors that forced the government to reinstate the entire 9 members, trustees of the Victoria School Board that they fired last year were significant but inadvertent. That wasn't enough for the BC Conservative critic Lynn Block. She says it shows incompetence.
Inadvertent error that came to light in the last few days. At the 11th hour, the minister released the documents. This was the minister's responsibility. As a result, government was forced to withdraw the case. This Minister of Education no longer has the trust of British Columbians. Mistakes happen, but this level of incompetence is monumental.
Bear says she intends to get to the bottom of what happened with the information requested by the court, including the costs of the mistake. And experts say Alberta's secession movement is unlike others in the world.
University of Ottawa political science professor Andre Lacour says Alberta's separatist movement is different from those seen in places like the UK and Spain. Lacour says separatist movements abroad are often driven by distinct language, religion, culture, or ancestry, traits he says Alberta separatists don't share. University of Toronto professor Andrew McDougall says the movement is instead fueled by long-standing frustrations with Ottawa over energy and environmental policies. Premier Danielle Smith says those grievances have built up for more than a decade. Albertans will test that frustration in an October 19th referendum where voters will decide whether to stay in Canada or begin the process toward a binding vote on separation. David Augustine, The Canadian Press.
And that is your news to 6:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking if you agree with the province's decision to reinstate ST61's trustees, all 9 of them. 80% say no. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news times, 6:37.
Thank you, Lisa. We are heading towards a warm day, a little mugginess in the air, some sunshine too. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, over to CFAX 1070 Sports, where the Vegas Golden Knights are heading to the Stanley Cup Final. Mark Stone and Cole Smith scored. Carter Hart made 20 saves, and the Golden Knights beat the President's Trophy-winning Colorado Avalanche 2-1 last night in Sin City to sweep the best-of-7 Western Conference Finals. So Vegas moves on. Who will they face emerging out of the Eastern Conference Final? That one's still going. Montreal Canadiens and the Carolina Hurricanes going at it tonight in Game 4. After opening the playoff series with a convincing 6-2 victory, the Canadiens have now lost back-to-back overtime games. And so we'll see what happens in Game 4 again in Montreal tonight. To baseball. After giving up 8 runs to the Miami Marlins on Monday, it was the Blue Jays' turn for some offense last night as they took the second game of the series 8-1. 6 of those 8 runs came in the 6th inning with outfielder Jesus Sanchez on fire.
Hit hard, deep right, gone! Jesus Sanchez with his first big league grand slam, jumping all over a 99-mile-an-hour fastball and pulling it down the line to score 4.
The Jays and Marlins wrap up their series with a day game today with Kevin Gausman on the mound. So there's baseball. Let's talk real quick about the future of women's hockey. Hockey Canada has begun its search for a new general manager for its women's hockey team. Gina Kingsbury says it's time to move on after 8 years overseeing the team. Kingsbury says she's proud of Canada winning back-to-back world championships in 2021 and 2022, as well as an Olympic gold medal in 2022 amid the challenges of COVID-19.
Entire staff, our entire athletes, we got through a fairly difficult period of time in the world, but we did it with each other and we collaborated and we stuck together.
The new general manager will hire Canada's next head coach. Troy Ryan said after February's Olympic Games in Italy that he's done coaching the national team. Ryan will be the head coach and GM of the PWHL's expansion team in San Jose, California next season. That's your sports to 6:39. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It is 6:40. We were asking about problems you might be facing on the commute. And one of our texters at 71010 says, well, there is that 4-week gas main installation on Caledonia between Quadra and Cook with single-lane alternating traffic. I was looking this up, and it looks like this is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., according to the City of Victoria, so it might not be affecting things right now, although I guess if there's a giant construction zone there, it's probably going to be a bit slow going. And
why not do like 9 p.m. to 3 a.m.?
That always comes up. It's about the night work. You know, why can't we do more of this in the off hours?
Safety, but still.
There's usually reasons why they can't, but I get the frustration. Anyways, thanks to the texter for pointing that out, because you got Quadra going on there by Caledonia. You've got, of course, Cook Street near Finlayson. So some of those major north-south routes in the City of Victoria affected by different construction projects right now, and the frustration is out there. No sailing rates at BC Ferries, and in the weather forecast, we've got a mostly sunny day today. Highs of 23, a little cooler by the water, but feeling a little warmer in the humidity. We do have a humidex today of 25. Few clouds tonight, lows down to 11. Mainly sunny tomorrow, a bit more breezy though tomorrow, and feeling a little cooler. Friday, mix of sun and cloud, highs of 18. Saturday, Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, highs around 17, 18 degrees. So we're sort of walking down the temperature just ever so slightly, but staying fairly stable in the weather forecast for the next few days. Right now, it is officially 9 degrees in Victoria at the airport, but we're seeing some warmer temperatures out there right now. It's 13 already at the University of Victoria in Saanich. Opening bells just ringing for North American stock markets. We'll see what happens as the day gets on, but right now I can tell you how yesterday closed on North American stock markets. S&P TSX down 177 points at the close to 34,653. The Dow in New York down 118 to 50,461. The Canadian dollar overseas trading at 72.3 cents US right now. And also in the world of business, Canada apparently negotiating the purchase of aerial surveillance systems with Swedish companies instead of American competitors. That news just kind of coming out of Ottawa right now, too, in the world of business.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
A heads up, crows are doing their thing right now where they, have babies and then dive bomb us. So that happened.
We're not even climbing the tree.
I know,
we're just walking past.
We're just walking by.
Minding our own business.
Texter at 71010 says, crows make a lot of different sounds, by the way. Oh, I get this because I played the crow noises, and I mentioned that they're not a peaceful-sounding bird.
Correct.
But this texter says, my friend Cheryl Crow, I see what you did there. You named your crow Cheryl. My friend Cheryl Crow does a little dance and makes sweet, quiet, peaceful song sounds. She dances and sings while I garden. Not always, but sometimes I give her an unsalted peanut in the shell. She visits often, even when there are no peanuts. They know who their friends are.
They do.
And their enemies.
Yep.
Just wear a baseball cap so they don't dive bomb you. That's from Patty. Thank you, Patty, for weighing in on the crow chat.
She's right.
Yeah.
They recognize faces.
And
you want to be a friendly face.
So if they've spotted you and they know you're a menace, for whatever reason they've decided that, I guess the hat can kind of help obscure that.
They don't like your hairdo that day. They'll mess it up for you.
Another texter saying they named their crow Cheryl too. This seems to be a common thread.
Cheryl Crow. Do we know her?
Yeah. So there you go. It is time for the crows to be a little bit aggressive, and you're sharing your stories at 71010.
It's good. It's good. And you're right. You don't want to feed them, but befriending them. If you can actually befriend a bird, something other than a parrot, that's pretty cool. A wild animal. And they will. So, I don't know. I'd rather have them I'd rather be on the right side of them.
That's true.
I still say they're packing.
The CFAX Summer of Rock continues, by the way. Listen for the sound of a Motley Crue song. That's this week's artist.
Oh, yes.
And if you hear that song, you can text us at 71010 the word rock. That's all you need, ROCK, to be entered to win the draw. And this is to go and see Motley Crue playing this summer in Vancouver.
July 12th.
July 12th. We'll send you with the Helijet flight with the Rosedale and Robson Street Hotel accommodation. And it's all powered by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt. Motley Crue. Listen for
I
it.
gotta say, the flight alone on Helijet, if you've never been on Helijet,
Oh, that's cool.
oh, it's so cool.
I love the
Harbor to
Helijet
harbor,
flight.
you feel like a rock star just getting on Helijet.
Oh, yeah.
Forget the concert and, the cool hotel room. That alone is worth the price of admission. So thanks to our good friends downstairs that pour the suds.
It's the CFAX Summer of Rock. What's happening in the news? Here's Lisa Best.
Well, since we're talking about cool aircraft, Canada's eyeing a fleet of surveillance aircraft for the Royal Canadian Air Force. Prime Minister Mark Carney says the federal government is entering into contract negotiations with Saab, which produces the planes in a joint partnership with Bombardier. Carney says that the Air Force needs the jets to monitor new threats such as hypersonic missiles. The federal government had previously said that it's in the market for 6 radar aircraft to help protect Canada against further threats. Victoria Police Chief Fiona Wilson says she's contracted the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner over communications between the BC government and Deputy Chief Michael Brown that came to light in a court case over the firing of the Victoria School Board last year. The case, of course, saw 9 Victoria School Board trustees reinstated to their post after initially being dismissed when they sought to block police liaison programs in local schools. Court filings show messages referring to board chair Nicole Duncan as a, quote, narcissistic moron, and Brown replying with a vulgar comment on the day of the board's dismissal. The revelation led to the court reinstating those trustees while Brown retired from the police department on Monday. Well, Wilson says she is long planned. This says that has been long planned and was unrelated to the case. That would be his retirement. Canada has implemented stricter travel measures in response to the Ebola crisis. The Canadian government imposing a mandatory 21-day self-isolation period for travelers from affected regions. That includes the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and Uganda. The Public Health Agency of Canada says the risk for Canadians remains low, noting the measures are just out of an abundance of caution. But the U.S. is also testing travelers at their border when they fly in. That's your news to 647.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about a group that is trying to cure the summertime blues. If the blues is hunger for you, the campaign to fight summer hunger on southern Vancouver Island. What is this, and how is St. Vincent de Paul, Vancouver Island, involved? We're going to get to that in just a moment after traffic and weather.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Join Capital Bike for Spring Go By Bike Week, May 30th to June 5th. Register and find celebration stations at gobuybikebc.ca. Sign up for the Walk for Alzheimer's Sunday, May 31st at Fisherman's Wharf. More info at walkforalzheimers.ca. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. This has nothing to do with traffic and weather, but another crow text. We live under the big trees, and the crows have been nicely dropping bunny parts in our yard. Oh my gosh. We have a new puppy, so you can only imagine. That's aggressive. Anyways, the crows, we're getting text from 71010 from listeners about their experience this morning. Thanks for sharing your stories. For traffic and weather, well, people are pointing out that we've got all that construction going on. You got the paving on Cook Street other side of Finlayson ongoing, but also road work started this week on Quadra near Caledonia, where there's a big gas main installation happening. So just in general, as the day goes on, we've got all these construction projects slowing things up. For the West Shore commute, though, we're seeing it start to build, the volume delays, but it's really quite light so far. No major problems, no crashes or accidents. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits. And for the weather forecast, it's going to eventually be a high of 23 degrees, feeling maybe even a little warmer with some mugginess in the air today. But then, again, it is Victoria, and it'll be cooler by the water if you're by the Wandafuka Strait. Right now, we are sitting at 9 degrees.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, food security and the cost of living and the cost of food and hunger in our community is always a topic we talk about because for the last few years, this has really emerged as one of the big things we're facing. And summertime could be a bad time for it for various reasons. We're going to learn about that right now. And we're also going to learn about what this particular campaign, Cure the Summertime Blues, is trying to do to help out. So I've got on the line Derek Pace, Executive Director of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, Vancouver Island, joining us on the line. Sir, how you doing?
I'm well. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, really good.
Great to get you here. So, Cure the Summertime Blues. You just launched this campaign to fight summer hunger. Why is summertime a time to focus on?
Summertime is a time when, kids are home from school, so families are struggling a little more under the weight of the cost of living, as you mentioned, and there isn't summer programs. And then on top of that, people go away and have holidays and stuff. So our donations drop drastically during the summer, and it's just difficult to keep up with the demand.
Talk about the demand. I mean, I guess that's summertime, but just overall, because, this kind of can be a little theoretical sometimes. People think, yeah, cost of food is up. It must be hard for some people. But give me a sense of what you actually see out there.
Well, we see an increase year over year in people coming in. So, it's not getting better. It's getting worse, unfortunately. We see a lot of families, and interestingly enough, we see two-income families coming in now because we're just having a difficult time making ends meet. We see more seniors coming in. Just our stats across the board and demographics are up for every different population. So it's difficult. People are having a hard time out there.
And you run food banks?
We have our Choices Food Pantry downtown at 833 Yates.
Gotcha. And that's what you're seeing. So you've got this Cure the Summertime Blues campaign to try to help out. What is this all about?
So we are partnering with Maximum Express, and we're going to have a van to cram full of food, hopefully, on May 30th, between 11 and 2 outside the Sticky Wicket on Douglas Street, and then again on June 6th, same time, 11 to 2 outside Sacred Heart Church at 4040 Nelthorpe Street. So we're hoping to get people down, have a little fun, fill up a van, and support a really good cause.
Cram the van. It's great. And this is, Saturday?
Saturday, May 30th, and again on Saturday, June 6th.
So the next two Saturdays, and that's 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.?
Yes.
What kind of food would you like to put in this van? Like, what are the top things you're looking for?
Thanks for asking that. That's a good one. We're hoping to get protein-rich foods, so peanut butter, canned meats, canned soups and stews, and then boxed things for lunches, etc., like mac and cheese and rice, ramen noodles. We're also looking for Ensure, just because of the protein richness of that product. So we're looking to definitely get as many items as we can so that we can give choices to people when they come to our market.
And sometimes we hear food banks really like cash because you can get deals on things in bulk. Is that something you're also looking for?
Yes, absolutely. So cash, it makes it easier for us. We're hoping to get cash donations as well.
What else is coming up this summer with this campaign? Because you got these 2 Cram the Van events. What else is on the horizon?
We will have other events throughout the summer, but we're also challenging businesses and community groups to come together with food and donation drives in support of our Choices Food Pantry, and then, of course, that will support the people that we serve.
Well, there you go. That's what's happening with the Cure the Summertime Blues campaign, trying to fight summer hunger. And yeah, we hear about that because you mentioned right off the top that thing, especially with families with kids. You don't realize how much the school programs are there to help kind of cover some of that cost of food. You know, if you can get breakfast or lunch covered at a school, once you hit summer, once you hit even Christmas break, you know, these breaks can be hard times for those families who are struggling. And a lot more people are struggling, as you mentioned, with the cost of food right now. So it's hard out there. How does it, I don't, whenever I talk to people who run food banks and these kind of programs, there's sort of this double-edged thing where, like, it's really heartwarming to be able to help out, but it's always kind of frustrating that we continue to need to help out. Like, wouldn't it be great if we didn't need this? And I don't know, sometimes it feels like we're going the wrong direction.
I 100% agree with you. It's year over year, it's very frustrating to see more and more people, you know, people who don't usually come to food bank coming to our doors, and it's the cost of living, it's the cost of rent, it's people just not having their income catching up with inflation, and it's really tough on people.
Derek Pace is Executive Director of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, Vancouver Island. Good luck with this. Again, this Saturday, next Saturday, the first thing's coming up, the Cram the Van. So check it out if you want to help out, because the need is out there. Much appreciated, and good luck with this.
Thank you so much for having me on, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a story we hear from all corners of Victoria. We'll follow it, we'll talk about it, and we'll take a break because the 7 o'clock news is coming up next on CFAX 1070.
You know I'm a dreamer, but my heart's of gold. I had to run away high, so I wouldn't come home low. Just when things went right, it doesn't mean they were always wrong. Just take this song, and you'll never be left all alone. Take me to your heart, fill me in your bones. Just one more night, and I'm coming off this long and winding road. I'm on my way, I'm on my way, home sweet home.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 7 o'clock on Wednesday, May 27th. So welcome to the day. It is going to be on the warmer side with mainly sunny skies, highs of 23 eventually, and a bit of humidity in the air. At least that's the forecast. We'll tell you all about it in a moment. But right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. And Premier David Eby admits he still has anxiety about the Alberta referendum. However, at a news conference wrapping up the 2 days of Premier's meetings in Kananaskis, Alberta yesterday, he says he feels better about the path forward.
I am really pleased that we were able to agree on language in this communique, all premiers, myself, Premier Smith, everybody across the table, that a unified Canada is what enables all of the work that we want to do together to build a strong economy, to build the kind of country that we want. In the absence of a unified Canada, we'll be poorer, we will not be as successful.
Eby points to other referendums like Brexit in the UK that didn't work out the way many had hoped, that reason for his anxiety. Alberta's secession movement is like no other. University of Ottawa political science professor Andre Lacour says the movement does not have the same hallmarks as those happening outside of Canada. He says separatists elsewhere, like in the UK and Spain, have a distinct culture, religion, language, or belief, and a different genealogy. Premier Danielle Smith had said that Alberta's separatists have a decade-long list of resentments with Ottawa over energy and environmental policies.
There are no significant secessionist movement that hinge only on financial, fiscal, and economic grievances. Any and all significant secessionist movement starts with nationhood. The idea that members of this movement don't consider themselves to be members of the nation that is embodied by the state. So in Alberta, it would be that secessionists would not consider themselves Canadian, which is not what surveys show. They do consider themselves Canadian.
Whether those grievances are worth quitting Canada or not will be tested in the October 19th referendum. Albertans will be asked whether they want to remain in Canada or start the process of holding a binding referendum on separation. Canada implementing stricter measures for travel in response to the Ebola crisis. The Canadian government is imposing a mandatory 21-day self-isolation period for travelers from affected regions. That includes the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and Uganda. The Public Health Agency of Canada says the risk for Canadians remains low at this point. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention sent an urgent message to workforce to recruit personnel to help screen passengers coming from hotspots. ABC's Faith Ubube is at the Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson International Airport.
An internal email obtained by ABC News shows acting CDC Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya urging employees to volunteer to screen Americans returning from Ebola hot zones for possible signs of the virus. The U.S. is one of several countries tightening travel restrictions amid the rapidly growing outbreak.
It says FIFA just gets started. There's another U.S. military strike on a suspected drug vessel.
Unclassified video posted on social media by U.S. Southern Command shows a boat speeding through water and then exploding into flames. The U.S. military launched the strike Tuesday on the boat, suspected of transporting drugs in the eastern Pacific Ocean. One man was killed, 2 people survived. Since early September, the Trump administration has been blowing up alleged drug trafficking vessels in Latin American waters, and at least 194 people have been killed. The Pentagon said last week it will evaluate whether the U.S. military is following an established targeting framework when carrying out such attacks. Donna Warder, Washington.
And maybe AI isn't coming after your job after all.
Sam Altman said not too long ago that artificial intelligence would replace up to 40% of all work tasks in the not too distant future. Well, now the CEO of OpenAI says he spoke too soon. Altman tells Reuters that his fears were overblown. He says while some jobs will be eliminated, many of them ultimately require a human component, which cannot be replaced. In fact, Altman says he's gone back to writing emails himself rather than outsourcing them to AI. I'm Daria Albinger.
And they're interested in a Ferrari electric car. Sounds weird, doesn't it? It's getting a big thumbs down from Italians and online critics.
The company unveiled the Luce car Tuesday, and its base price of $640,000. Italy's transport minister bashed the price and said it looks like anything but a Ferrari car. The car brand's former chairman said they should take the prancing horse off the car, adding, "At least the Chinese won't copy this car." Critics say it looks just like a $30,000 Toyota Prius. Shares of Ferrari dropped about 6% after the luxury automaker unveiled the car. I'm Monica Nelson.
Wow. That's your news to 7:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking if you agree with the province's decision to reinstate the trustees of the Greater Victoria School Board. 80% saying no. You can vote at CFAX1070.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 7:07.
Thanks, Lisa. Let's take a quick look at the weather. So nice outside. It just kind of feels like it's coming at you like a nice day already.
Beautiful.
And I can tell you it is, because mainly sunny skies, highs of 23, and a bit of mugginess in the air, making it feel even warmer. A humidex of 25. So that's sort of what you're in for. A little cooler by the water per usual, but yeah, if you feel like you're getting up and you're opening up that window and saying, it feels like it's going to be a nice day, you are not wrong.
Just watch out for the crows.
Just watch out for the crows. It is that season, we've been learning today. You know where they dive bomb you and they protect their nest full of babies? That's what's going on. Let's talk about the sports. What's going on? So we'll start with hockey, where the Vegas Golden Knights are moving on.
He has Stone on the break. He's got it.
Matt Stone there. Cole Smith also scoring. Carter Hart making 20 saves as the Vegas Golden Knights punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup final with a 2-1 win over the visiting Colorado Avalanche, who get swept in the best-of-7 series. So there you go. That's what's going to be one half of the Stanley Cup final. What's the other half? Well, it's either going to be the Montreal Canadiens or the Carolina Hurricanes, who are playing again tonight. That one is heading into Game 4 with Carolina up 2-1. Montreal trying to even if they can tonight. Game 5 will be Friday, by the way, back in North Carolina. In Memorial Cup play, the host Kelowna Rockets play the Western Hockey League champion Everett Silvertips in the final round-robin game at the Memorial Cup. The unbeaten Kitchener Rangers, who beat the Chicoutimi Saguenayens 3-2 last night, earned a berth in Sunday's final. The Rockets need to win tonight to force a tiebreaker game on Thursday. If the Silvertips win, they'll play the Saguenayens in Friday's semifinal. And in baseball, Toronto Blue Jays aiming to win today's rubber match of their 3-game series against the visiting Miami Marlins today. Right-hander Kevin Gausman on the mound for the Jays, who played long ball and beating the Marlins 8-1 last night. That's your sports to 7:09. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It is 7:10 on Wednesday, and we are looking at a fairly typical commute so far. No crashes, no accidents to report. If you see anything, though, let me know at 7:10:10. But the volume delays are building up from the West Shore into Victoria. Pretty typical, though. No particular problems facing you. Road work going to be causing trouble again in a couple of spots. In the north-south routes, kind of in and out of Victoria. Both Quadra and Cook have their own construction things near Caledonia on Quadra. The gas main installation is now underway from Fortis, BC, and then over on Cook Street, either side of Finlayson, that road work, that paving work continues. That'll be slowing things up again all this week. That's a factor. Actually, for both these projects, they're just going to be with us for a few days. Now, for the BC ferries, no sailing waits, and for the weather, mainly sunny today. Highs of 23, a little cooler by the water, per usual, and a little humidity in the air today, according to the forecast. A few clouds tonight, lows to 11, and then just sort of the overview of the next few days kind of is as follows. It's going to stay fairly stable, mostly sunny, a few clouds here and there. We just gradually see the temperatures come down a little bit. Today will be the peak, the hottest day that we're forecasting, and then a little cooler tomorrow, then a little cooler Friday, and then by Saturday, Sunday, high teens in the sunshine, so still very pleasant weather to end May, just not quite as warm as today for the next few days. Right now, it is outside the CFAX studios in Esquimalt. We're sitting at 12 degrees. It's 13 now as the official temperature at the Victoria International Airport. On the markets, getting our first results from the day. S&P TSX in Toronto dropping 214 points to begin things at 34,438. The Dow in New York is up 190 to 50,652. Canadian dollar at 72.3 cents US. And I haven't checked in on that barrel of oil in a little bit, which, not so long ago was over $100 US a barrel or more. Right now it's at $89.85 US a barrel, and that's down $4. So big drop there in the barrel of oil. So we'll watch that and see what happens. I wish it meant the gas prices are going down quite as fast, but that's probably not what that means.
Well, it should work in tandem, one would think.
You'd think. It takes a little while,
we're hearing that the prices are dropping up to 10 cents in Toronto.
Okay.
Which means if it happens out east, it's going to work its way here.
Maybe.
Right?
I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Wistful thinking, at least.
Well, it's looking that way. That's what Dan McTagg from Gas Buddy's saying anyway.
Good. Okay. That's good news.
So it's positive news.
I trust him. He knows more about gases than me.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Well, I am king. Oh, king, eh? Very nice. And how do you get that, eh? By exploiting the workers. By hanging on to outdated imperialist dogma which perpetuates the economic and social differences in our society.
Next,
that's a little bit of Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yes.
And the king has the argument with the peasant.
The peasant seems to have the upper hand in that one.
Yeah. Women lying around in ponds throwing swords is not a basis for a system of government or something like that. Anyways, that is an example of maybe one of the sketches you could recite for us on CFAX 1070 to win tickets to Spam-A-Lot. This is the Tony Award-winning musical that is coming to Victoria in August at the Royal Theatre. It's another one of these Broadway and Victoria shows. If you've seen one of these, you understand that they're bringing some serious quality in these productions to Victoria. You don't got to go to Manhattan. They're coming to you.
Well, yeah. It's worth the price of admission when you have to take that flight.
Yeah, so that's what's coming. We got, I think Kinky Boots is the one that's coming up first. It'll be in July, but then in August we got Spam-A-Lot.
That's cool.
How cool is that? But we want to send you for free. You can buy the tickets if you want, but why not try to get them for free all this week at different times here on the morning show? We're getting you to call when we give you the cue, and you just got to perform for us some little piece of a Monty Python sketch. Maybe it's that one. It could be anything. We've had the Lumberjack song so far, although that contestant was good to not sing too much of the song because, sometimes
goes sideways.
It could go sideways. We've had a little bit of the parrot sketch. That was our first winner. Famous sketch. So if you got some little bit of Monty Python rattling around your head you want to perform for us, that's what we're looking for. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be sometime later this hour.
Oh, okay, soon enough.
So this hour, we've done it in the 8 o'clock hour a couple of times. I think our 7 o'clock listeners deserve a chance to win. So wait for your cue to call. Get your little Monty Python sketch ready for us. Doesn't have to be much. And if you do, you'll win the tickets to spam a lot. And the number, don't call now, but the number is 250-386-1161 if you want to get yourself ready.
All right.
Right now, 7:15. What's going on, Lisa?
Prime Minister Mark Carney is thanking former Cabinet Minister Stephen Guilbeault for his contributions to government. This as the Liberal MP prepares to resign his seat later today. Guilbeault is a staunch environmentalist. He's become increasingly disillusioned in recent months by what he calls the dismantling of climate policies under Mark Carney's rule. The Quebec MP quit Carney's cabinet last year after the announcement of Ottawa's energy deal with Alberta, which includes an agreement to work towards the approval of the bitumen pipeline. Carney says he respects Guilbeault's decision and expects they'll work together in some way in the years to come. Guilbeault is expected to inform the Liberal caucus of his departure today. The Liberals have a slim majority with 174 seats in the House of Commons. Stateside, the U.S. president to convene his cabinet this morning at the White House discussing the war in Iran. The White House officials say all cabinet members will be there, including outgoing intelligence director Tulsi Gabbard, to discuss recent successes of the administration, other foreign policy updates. The U.S. is still trying to hammer out a peace deal with Iran, and yes, the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. And a former employee of a Chatsworth-based toy company is accused of stealing more than $1 million worth of collectibles. Prosecutors say the man who worked for MGA Entertainment stole die-cast car collectibles from the company's factory. He is accused of taking cartoon collectibles valued at about $500,000 out of the shipping container in February and loading them into his car. The cars are highly valued for collectors and hobbyists. The 55-year-old pleaded guilty to the charges on April 10th, and he faces up to 6 years in prison if convicted. That's your news to 7:16.
We've been talking crows this morning because it's the season where they get a little protective of their nests. They start dive bombing some people, and this texter at 71010 says they have a crow hack. You ready for this, Lisa?
Okay.
Okay, so the texter says they avoid our faces. They attack from behind and will avoid our eyes, to be specific. So if you draw some eyes on a hat or paste a couple of googly eyes on the back of your head, they will be so confused by you, they won't swoop. And after a couple of encounters, they will avoid you because they can't figure out where your eyes are.
And they don't want you to, they want to, yeah, okay. They don't want you to see them coming.
I'm really hoping now I encounter in the wild somebody with googly eyes just pasted to the back of their head, just walking around.
Or just in the urban wilderness, yeah. Wow, really? Okay.
That's a funny crow hack.
Well,
if you
makes
get faced
sense
with
why
the situation.
Some animals in the wild and insects too, like those moths that look like they have eyes on their wings.
Right.
And so it stops predators from eating them.
Well, thank you for the tip at 7:10:10 as we talk about
Need to
crow
get some
season.
googly eyes.
Yeah. You know what else it is the season of?
Mm-hmm.
It's the season of farmers markets.
Yes.
I mean, we've got some that go all year round, but this is where they really start to shine.
Yeah.
As the weather starts getting nice like it is. I've got some of my favorites. I'm sure you do too.
True.
A new one, though, is emerging.
Okay. Where is it?
So this is going to be the Pecals Market. It wants to become Saanich's Sunday morning hangout. So let's learn about this latest farmers market and where it's going to be and what it's all about. Coming up in just a moment with the guy organizing it. That's coming up. And if you got a traffic and weather tip for us, text us at 71010. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, the designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Okay, taking a look at the roads. No collisions, crashes, or problems like that right now. If you see, though, anything causing you trouble on the commute, I would love to hear from you. Text us at 71010. Right now, the volume delays from the West Shore are looking like they're typical, but, nothing unusual facing you. No sailing waits at BC Ferries. It's really just looking like a standard Wednesday so far. The weather forecast is quite a thing, though. We got mainly sunny skies, highs of 23, a little humid as well, so making it feel a bit warmer. A few clouds tonight, bit of breeze off the water, lows to 11. Tomorrow, mainly sunny again. A bit windier if you're by the Wanda-Fuka Strait tomorrow. They'll be picking up a little bit. Highs of 21, so a bit cooler than today. And that's sort of the trend. Friday, mix of sun and cloud, highs of 18. Saturday, Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, highs in the high teens still. So today's kind of the peak of the heat for the next few days before it just kind of slowly ratchets down a little bit.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
What makes a good farmer's market? I love a few farmers markets around that I go to. I'm sure a lot of people have their favorites if you are into farmers market season like I am. I want to find out about this one, though. It's a fairly new one in town. I think it's going into their second year. It's the Pecal's Market in Saanich, and Darren Westwood is the market manager on the line right now to tell us all about it. Darren, hello.
Hey, Ryan, Lisa, how are you doing?
Great to get you here. So, the Pecal's Market, first off, before we move any further, just tell us where and when this one is.
And how to pronounce it? Yeah, it's either Pecal's or Pecols. Yeah, basically just off Feltham, Lambrick Park, in by the tennis courts. There's a beautiful pathway that goes in between the rec center and Feltham, and it's a nice wander. Gordon Head, local feel to it for sure.
Now, this Gordon Head area, did it have a market before this, or are you the first one in that area?
This is the second year for this one, and but it's the only kind of weekly market in Saanich, so it's kind of really nice. There's pop-ups and music festivals and stuff, but as far as a weekly thing, this is year 2 of this, and looking really forward to it.
And so it's just every Sunday morning?
Every Sunday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for sure. So it's a new reason to set your alarm for Sunday.
Excellent. And you're trying to be, I guess, in the Gordon Head area. It's a neighborhood that didn't have something like this regularly. That's what this is trying to be, kind of like a neighborhood market, or what's your goal for this one?
Yeah, definitely more of a local vibe than it is a tourist-based market. So, it's not an all-day wonder. It's 3 hours. Basically, come grab a coffee, check the vendors out, just kind of feel the local buzz. More quality over quantity, so not a lot of filler stuff, just really good vendors, curated, and, built for the locals, really. It seemed to be really supported last year, and we're loving it for this year number 2, so.
You talked a little bit about, you got a vision for this. You're trying to curate vendors. There's probably a lot that goes into trying to put together a successful farmer's market that, you don't think about when you just go to them. Like, how much effort goes into them and how much differentiates them? Because, they've all got their flavor. You mentioned this one's trying to be a neighborhood market. Some of them are trying to be big marquee things for a whole region. There's a lot that goes into these things.
Yeah, definitely. You got to learn to stay in your lane and, know your location and your client base. So, we're far from downtown, so it's not like it's going to rely on tourists at all. So the local shoppers that keep coming back every week, it's great. You've got to have a nice curation of vendors and not a lot of doubling up and not a lot of, stuff that they're going to just keep walking by. They're coming for a reason every week, which is great. And it's nice. It's small. It's a good feel. We've got some nice music going on. And there's all sorts of activities, lacrosse and tennis and that kind of stuff going on as well right behind it. So it's definitely busy. Definitely busy.
I also noticed here that you've pitched this market as having a renewed focus on accessibility and energy. What do those mean?
Yeah, it's just bringing the sort of back to the community that wants something so bad for that area. It's an easy walk market. There's tons of parking. It's just a good feel. And it's short enough that you can still get the rest of your Sunday either on the golf course or hanging out on the patio.
So I got a question for you as a guy who organizes these things. It's interesting to me, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like over the last, several years, maybe decades, the amount of farmers markets has really grown and the popularity of these things has really grown. Like I know when I grew up, I grew up in Sydney, so you'd have the big Sydney street market that would be on, and that would be like the only one that I was aware of, and I'm sure there were other ones around, but it seems like now there's just, neighborhoods have theirs, there's also the big ones. Why do you think farmers markets have grown like this?
I think just people are wanting to support local and small business, and the Sydney market is pretty dear to my heart as well, because my family ran it for many years before COVID. And I'm, a couple of those members as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in my blood. I had no intention of being involved in this market, any farmers market. It was, totally off my radar. But since I got involved in just watching people and watching businesses grow and the support that the community gives, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a good feel, good feel biz.
But you think it's just a lot of people out there now looking for that more local connection. You want to buy local, and what better way to do that than actually show up and see the farmer who grew the whatever it is that you're buying, and buy it from them directly.
Especially if you're in Gordon Head and you want to, just for instance, like the garlic guy who's very popular. He lives around the corner, for God's sake. So people want to support them when they can. But just an amazing amount of local vendors that are there, just having fun, and people support them. It's so good to see.
Yeah, interesting. The rise of the farmers market, it continues. And for the second year, the Pecols market, which one's correct? Tell me the right one.
Yeah, I mean, when you're buying, you can call it whatever you want. But yeah, I guess in the Saanich peoples, it translates to Whitehead or White Rock. So it's kind of the traditional territories for the Pecols area, which is interesting. So just doing some studying up on that. But no, it's good. It's going to be a great addition to the area, and looking forward to lots of people showing up. 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. Sundays. Grab some goodies. Yeah.
Starting this Sunday. So this is the first one of the season this Sunday. Yeah, very good.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, Darren Westwood, good luck with the new market for this neighborhood of Saanich. And if you enjoy a good farmer's market, I just hope you're enjoying the season, because they're all out and about now. Darren, great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Have a great day.
All right.
See you Sunday.
Yeah, see you Sunday at the market, whatever market you happen to be going to. There's so many. It's great. Now, we have to take a break here. 7:30 News is coming up. A reminder that we are giving away tickets to see Spamalot, the musical, coming to the Royal Theatre in Victoria in August. Tickets are on sale, but if you want to win tickets, you got to perform a little Monty Python for us. And just a heads up that sometime later this hour, we'll be taking a random caller at 250-386-1161. So if you want to participate, start thinking about your sketch and get ready to give us a call when we give you the cue.
The CFAX 1070 Summer of Rock. All right. Win a trip to Vancouver and catch a concert from the Sax Point Pub Summer of Rock lineup. Listen to CFAX from 6 till 6.
When you hear a clip from our Artist of the Week,
text ROCK to 71010 with your first name
to win that concert.
You'll fly with Helijet and stay at the Rosedale on Robson Suite Hotel. Brought to you by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt.
Stream us on the iHeartRadio app.
CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's 7:30 on this Wednesday, May 27th. Welcome to the day. It's going to be sunny and warm. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you, Ryan. Good morning. Saanich police arresting 7 people yesterday in a barricading incident in the 100 block of Battleford Avenue that closed that route for more than 3 hours. Officers were called to report of a B&E in progress at the time. They say several suspects entered the home and apparently wouldn't leave. The GVERT team, the emergency response team, called in as well as police dogs. The situation was resolved about 3.5 hours later. No word on any charges laid at this point. Up Island, a major sewer leak. That's the last thing you want to hear in your neighborhood, but that's what the Comox Valley Regional District is dealing with. They've told residents in Comox, Courtney, and Comox First Nation not to flush until further notice due to an ongoing emergency incident. There's been a leak, and the warning includes not being in or on the ocean in small craft. That includes paddleboards and kayaks, especially near the shoreline in and around Goose Spit and Comox Marina. Residents also being asked to keep their pets away from beaches, shoreline areas, mudflats, and estuary access points. One of the changes to the 2026 provincial budget was around property tax deferral for seniors. The BC Conservatives are upset that seniors now have to pay interest in order to get that tax deferred. Finance Minister Brenda Bailey explains why the change was made.
People were using that money as inexpensive money to make investments. In fact, if you went on to, for example, Scotiabank to look at their private wealth management, you would see guidance on how to use this money. That is not appropriate. It's not appropriate for taxpayers to cover the costs for investors to get low-cost money. That's the change we're making. We are making these loans available at Prime +2. That is a reasonable rate. The senior does not have to pay any change in their monthly fees at all. If they want to defer their property tax, they can pay that at the time they sell their house.
Bailey says the intent of the program to help seniors remains in place now. Some tense moments between Canada's Western premiers over the past 48 hours. There are multi-day meetings wrapped up in the controversy of the separatist movement in Alberta, of course, taking center stage. CTV's Kathy Lee has details.
I disagree profoundly with Premier Smith's referendum. I think it is a huge mistake.
The debate comes after a judge struck down the Stay Free Alberta separation petition, ruling First Nations were not adequately consulted.
The issue, I think, in the court is whether that duty to consult should apply to citizen-initiated petitions. And that's where I think that the court erred in judgment.
I think we know that is not correct, a lot of what you just said there, Premier Smith. It is not up to the petition gatherers to fulfill the duty to consult. It is up to you as the Alberta government.
That's Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew says Alberta should pause its fall separation vote for a year or two while pipelines and other major projects get built. Smith's office says there's no plan for any kind of delay. Prime Minister Mark Carney says the Royal Canadian Air Force needs a fleet of surveillance aircraft to monitor new threats such as hypersonic missiles. Carney says the federal government is entering fresh contract negotiations with Saab, which produces the planes in joint partnership with Bombardier to do just that.
With its suite of advanced sensors and mission systems, Saab's GoldenEye will be a key resource for Canadian Armed Forces to detect and deter threats across the Arctic.
Mark Carney unveiling the news at the CanSec Defense Expo underway in Ottawa, the first time a Prime Minister has attended the annual arms show. A report from the Canadian Chamber of Commerce says a small group of cities across this country are driving Canada's progress in diversifying trade, while others fall behind.
The report says Calgary, Ottawa, Gatineau, Toronto, Saskatoon, and Kelowna, BC are among the cities making the strongest gains in export diversification beyond the U.S. market. It says many other cities in Canada aren't seeing the same shift, and manufacturing regions in Ontario continue to face weaker overall trade performance. Now, the report says the data suggests many businesses still expect Canada-U.S. trade conditions to stabilize, though trade conditions are likely to remain volatile for the time being. This as the federal government has set out to double non-U.S. exports over the next decade, and the government's spring economic update says non-U.S. goods and services exports increased by $33 billion in 2025 compared to 2024. David Augustine, The Canadian Press.
And questions swirl by why Canada is being left out in the cold in the FIFA World Cup ticket lottery, like the one that's being offered in New York City this week. CTV's Andrew Johnson has details.
Tickets will cost only $50.
New Yorkers priced out of the World Cup have a shot every day this week at $50 tickets in a daily lottery.
If I win, I'll be there.
Mayor Zoran Mamdani negotiated the approval to sell discount tickets to the public with FIFA President Gianni Infantino. That got us thinking about Canada's 2 host cities and why affordable tickets are not being offered to the public here.
That is your CFAX News to 7:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. Do you agree with the decision to reinstate the 9 trustees of the Greater Victoria School Board to their positions? 80% say no. You could vote now at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 7:37.
Thank you, Lisa. Warm and sunny today for the Greater Victoria area. Full forecast in just a moment. Over to the sports, though. In the NHL, the Vegas Golden Knights are awaiting the winner of the Eastern Conference Final now. They advanced to the Stanley Cup Final themselves with a sweep of the Colorado Avalanche that they completed last night. Vegas clinching the Western Conference Final with a 2-1 win. The Golden Knights are headed to the final for the 3rd time in 9 seasons. Now, who will they face from the West, or from the East, I should say? The Montreal Canadiens need to generate more offense if they want to even their NHL Eastern Conference Final against the Carolina Hurricanes tonight at the Bell Center. Montreal trailing the best-of-7 series 2-1 after back-to-back 3-2 overtime losses. The Canadiens have also been outshot 93-47 over these last 3 games. To a different playoff, the basketball one. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 1 win away from the NBA Finals after beating the San Antonio Spurs 127-114. Canada's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 32 points last night as Oklahoma City took a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference Final. The series winner goes on to face the New York Knicks, who emerged as the other victor. Toronto Blue Jays and the Miami Marlins will decide their 3-game series this afternoon after splitting the first 2 games at Rogers Center. In last night's game, the Blue Jays came out swinging. 6 of their 8 runs came in the 6th inning, with outfielder Jesus Sanchez on fire.
Hit hard, deep right, gone! Jesus Sanchez with his first big league grand slam, jumping all over a 99-mile-an-hour fastball and pulling it down the line to score 4.
And it was 8-1 in the end for Toronto over Miami. Yeah, the final of those games going today. And that is your CFAX Sports to 7:39. CFAX at 70 traffic and weather still fairly typical out there. No crashes or accidents reported. If you see something, though, text me at 71010. Watch out for road work again on Quadra. either side of Caledonia there, as FortisBC is doing some gas main work in that neighborhood, affecting traffic. And then on Cook Street, just a few blocks over and a few blocks up at Finlayson, they've got the paving work continuing. That's going to be all this week still for Cook and Finlayson. For the BC Ferries, no sailing waits right now. For the weather, mainly sunny today, highs of 23, a bit cooler by the water, but feeling a bit warmer with a humid index of 25. A few clouds tonight, lows to 11. Then tomorrow, mainly sunny, a little cooler and a little windier, particularly off the Wandafuka Strait. We'll see those winds blowing off the water, highs of 21. Mix of sun and cloud for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Still a little cooler, highs in the high teens, as opposed to today's kind of warm, muggy day. It's going to cool off a little bit, but still be quite pleasant for the next few. Right now, the temperatures around the region. If you are in Langford, I'm seeing 13 degrees right now. In Saanich, by the University of Victoria, it is already 17 degrees. Warming up fast out there. On the markets, S&P TSX down 152 to 34,501. The Dow in New York is up 298 to 50,760. Canadian dollar at 72.3 cents US. That's down a little bit from yesterday's close. And the barrel of oil, the West Texas Intermediate crude that we've been following, it's down a little over $4 US a barrel today, down to $89.53 US a barrel. This after, of course, not so long ago, it was well over $100 US a barrel. So continuing to see, at the moment at least, those oil prices softening a little bit on the global markets.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
All right, following up a story from Up Island, a major sewer leak in the Comox Valley, which prompted the regional district there to ask residents not to flush toilets for some time, to use certain appliances, avoid showering for several hours yesterday. I believe this is over now, but we're going to follow up on this. So what exactly happened? The regional district's general manager of engineering services, Chris LaRose, is on the line now to share the latest that residents need to know, and also just sort of the backstory as to what happened. So, Chris LaRose, great to get you on the line. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks so much for calling. So, what happened first off yesterday, and where did it happen?
Yeah, at 9:30 a.m. yesterday morning, we had a failure of the sewer system at our Jane Place pump station, which is one of our biggest pump stations that helps to pump wastewater to our treatment plant. It's undergoing a major upgrade, and some bypass piping was installed to help take that facility out of commission so it could be worked on. And that temporary piping, an element of that the contractor was working on, failed, and the full diameter line ended up discharging into an excavation. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but that hole quickly filled up and then overflowed into the intertidal zone, and flowed down into the ocean. And so that started at 9:30, and we were working very hard, staff and contractors, all day to drain the hole, get access to the piping, and effect the repair.
So this construction hole fills up. What did it fill up with?
So it's the raw wastewater. So the wastewater coming from the municipalities of Courtenay and Comox all flowed through that pipe. So it was the full flow from both communities. So as you can imagine, that hole filled up very quickly, like within seconds, and then it was overflowing into the ocean. It looked like a good-sized creek of raw wastewater.
That's awful, but wow, it's just assuming for you, this is like one of the worst calls you could possibly get. Like, this is what you got to deal with.
Oh, absolutely. It was a nightmare scenario. Not quite the worst case. I mean, if we, a pipe failure in the middle of an urban area where that kind of flow is traveling down streets and across private properties would have been worse. But this was pretty bad. And then, and for our crews, they spend all day, every day, doing their absolute best to convey and treat this wastewater so that it's a really high quality effluent before it's discharged to the ocean. So to see this happen was pretty heartbreaking, but it was really great to see how well everybody came together and had this resolved. It was by about 6 p.m. last night. We were able to let the community know that they could stop stop with the water conservation and get back to normal.
Okay, so for anybody listening again in the Comox Valley area, this is not an ongoing thing. You can go back to normal if you hadn't heard already.
Yeah, correct. So almost immediately yesterday morning, we issued an appeal to the community to stop flushing their toilets and using unnecessary water for dishwashers and showers and laundry, that type of thing. And actually, we saw a very impressive reduction in flow. I think roughly half. We saw a roughly 50% reduction. So people really took that to heart, and that really translated. That helped us with the repair, but it also helped to reduce the volume of wastewater that made its way into the ocean. There will be impacts from that, and one of those immediate impacts was just a warning to not go near the water in the Comox Harbor, and so that remains in place just because the wastewater will take some time to dilute and flush out of that area. So for the time being, we're asking the community to not recreate near the water in that area.
Chris, I just wanted to clarify how this can make you sick if you were to go in the ocean, because I know you've got great weather and people may not heed your warning.
Yes, no, you're right, and we're working with municipalities, with the Comox First Nation, all levels of government to be as effective as possible with our notifications and warnings. And so that the mechanism that it could make people sick is just there's raw wastewater has a very high level of bacteria and other pathogens in it. So it'll take some time for that to dissipate. So the risk would be that you could get sick from those bacteria or viruses that are in the wastewater. Of lesser concern are the other kind of chemicals and stuff that people incidentally put down the drain. But here in the Comox Valley, we don't have any significant big manufacturing or industry that would deliver any kind of higher concentrations of toxins or stuff like that. So the big risk is just the bacteria and viruses in the wastewater.
Well, that's Chris LaRose. He's General Manager of Engineering Services with the Comox Valley Regional District. This major sewer leak yesterday, which I've heard described as kind of near the Comox Valley, the Comox Marina. Is that roughly where this happened originally? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, immediately to the east of the marina.
Gotcha. So it all went down there. That's how it all played out. Looks like, for the most part, like you said, everybody can use their appliances and their water in their homes fine. Just avoid that shoreline in the area while things kind of clear up. Anything else people need to know? What's kind of next here?
So yeah, our focus now is shifting to recovery and monitoring communication with the public regarding the safety of the water. Over the next few days and weeks, we'll be focusing on the cleanup and reducing the impact on the environment.
Well, good luck. What a mess. That's, like I said, just what a thing to have to deal with. And thank you for and your team, I guess, for helping get everybody in the Comox Valley through this. Much appreciated. And thanks for talking to us here today.
Thanks, Ryan. I really appreciate the interest.
Wow. Okay, there we go. It's a story you've been hearing in the news, and there's a bit more of the detail behind what happened yesterday in the Comox Valley. Okay, at 7:48, let's get some more of the news headlines. Here's Lisa.
Amid Canada's uncertain trading relationship with the U.S., we continue to get hints that tariffs may not be going away anytime soon. Donald Trump's trade czar, Jameson Greer, confirmed yesterday that even if the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement is reaffirmed during negotiations this summer with a deadline of July 1st, the tariffs will not be dropped. Greer says U.S. officials are still bothered by some trade challenges within Canada. A new TD survey shows BCers are finding it a challenge to plan for summer fun without breaking their budget. 34% say they plan to spend less this summer. Among those cutting back, 56% redirecting spending towards essentials like groceries, fuel, and housing. 48% say higher fuel costs are affecting their travel decision, and 41% don't plan to buy travel insurance. And neighbors are growing more concerned about a tiny home village being built in Hollywood, California. The city-run community of 51 tiny homes is supposed to be a transitional site to help the homeless. The mayor, Karen Bass, and other leaders held a groundbreaking ceremony just 2 weeks ago. Residents say it'll just attract more homeless people and related problems to the working-class neighborhood. It comes months after of sidewalks in the area remaining free of encampments. That's your news to 7:50.
Lisa, we've been telling people all hour that the Monty Python sketch moment was about to happen.
Right.
So I'm going to let you know that it is time to open up the phone lines at 250-386-1161. So call us now if you want to perform whatever amount of a Monty Python sketch you choose to do. And if you do it, you will win tickets to see Spam-A-Lot, the Tony Award-winning musical based on Monty Python's Holy Grail movie. It's coming to the Royal Theatre in August. You can buy tickets, or you could just win them if you do that. I'm going to pick a random number that's ringing. Actually, I'm seeing the phones are ringing now.
Someone to impress us. We want to be impressed.
I'm going to randomly pick one of these in just a second, and we're going to get them on the air, and we're going to hear their best version of a Monty Python sketch. That's coming up right after the break. Traffic and weather next. Monty Python's Spam-A-Lot is coming to the Royal Theatre this August, and CFAX wants to send you, lovingly ripped off from the film classic Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The Tony Award-winning Spam-A-Lot has everything you need for a great night at the theater. Flying cows, killer rabbits, rubbery shrubbery, and of course, the Lady of the Lake. Listen to Mornings with Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070 for your chance to win a pair of tickets. Details at cfax1070.com. It's 7:53 on a Wednesday morning, and the morning show is brought to you by Bluebird Cabs. Need a cab? Download the new Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs LTD. That's what you look for on the App Store. They're proudly local, Canadian-owned and run since 1946. Okay, traffic and weather, what's going on? Still no major crashes, accidents, or problems out there. If you see anything, text us at 71010. But the Wednesday morning commute is looking a lot like a Wednesday. In fact, maybe, in some cases lighter than it can be from the West Shore into Victoria. Volume delays don't look as bad as they can get. For BC Ferries, Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen, 9 o'clock sailing is coming up. No sailing waits. That's your next one out. And for the weather, mainly sunny today, a little humid, so feeling a bit warm. A high of 23 otherwise. A few clouds tonight, lows to 11, and then tomorrow more sunshine, except maybe a bit windier and just slightly cooler, but still mostly sunny. Highs of around 21 is what you'd expect tomorrow. The official temperature for Greater Victoria right now, 13 degrees at the airport.
Let's get started. Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Oh, this is exciting, Lisa. We are going to go to the phone lines and hear another listener attempt to perform some kind of Monty Python sketch. And if they do, they will win tickets to Spam-A-Lot at the Royal Theatre in August.
Hopefully knock it out of the park is what we want to hear.
I'm hoping.
Really good.
Or whatever. we're not judging. We just need you to do it.
We've sort of had run the gamut here, but we're looking for a really good one.
Yeah. That would be just
that'd be nice.
It would
for
make
everyone
Lisa happy.
to enjoy.
And you want to make Lisa happy.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, I've gone to the phone line. This was our random caller for today. This is Michael, who gets our first chance at this.
Strong about Michael, yeah.
Michael, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Michael, you know what we're doing? You got a sense of this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so without further ado, I'm just going to let you go. Give us your best attempt at any kind of Monty Python sketch you would like to do. Go for it.
Have you got anything without spam in it? Well, spam is sausage, and spam has not got much spam in it. I don't want any spam.
Oh my gosh. I asked and he delivered.
That's great.
Thank you, Michael. You made my morning.
Oh, man. I was hoping the spam would come out. And, man, you even got the voice. That was...
Michael, you're obviously a huge fan.
Well, my brothers and sisters and I used to watch that every night, and we just howled with laughter. It's hilarious.
Well, I got to give you one of these. So one of the reasons I actually really enjoy this contest, and it sounds like you had this experience, Michael, but there was a time before the internet when you couldn't just go and find the highlight clips on YouTube the next day. If you wanted to revisit that cool thing you saw with your friends in the schoolyard, you had to basically memorize these things and go and perform them with your friends as a way of reliving it. And I did the same thing growing up. Like, I memorized Monty Python sketches just so you could, like, or, you know, maybe it was The Simpsons, whatever it was, and you kind of perform them with your buddies. So that.
Michael, do you have others that you rattle off?
Oh, I'll have to work on that.
So it's the spam skit.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's the favorite. Okay.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for being a good sport and giving us your best Monty Python sketch. You get the tickets. You are going to see Spam-A-Lot, the Tony Award-winning musical, in August at the Royal Theatre. Much appreciated. Thanks for calling.
Oh, thanks a lot. I sure look forward to it.
Oh, good, good.
There you go. If you want another chance to win, don't worry. We got more, because tomorrow and Friday, so every day this week, right here on The Morning Show, we are giving everybody a chance to win these tickets. All you got to do is what Michael just did there. I think he just set the bar pretty high, though, for effort level.
Well, yeah. You got to step up. If you're going to be handed the microphone to do a skit like that, you should represent. So, yeah, have something. Everybody has something.
Oh, it's so
Monty
good.
Python, depending on what level of fan you are. But seeing something like this on stage and having it come here rather than having to travel to New York for it, because we're seeing so many different off-Broadway and Broadway shows coming here, it's so worth it to go, downtown Victoria, and you've got it coming to your doorstep. So have fun at the show. If you hear the spam soliloquy and you hear a voice, that's Michael.
Michael,
He'll
appreciated.
be tuning in and talking about it from his seat in the audience, obviously.
Your next chance to win is tomorrow. We'll tell you all about it. But right now, we got to take a break for the 8 o'clock news.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hello, it's 8 o'clock on Wednesday, May 27th. Good morning. Welcome to the day. It's all brought to you by Thrifty Foods. At Thrifty Foods, Happy's filling the garden with local flowers, herbs, and soils. Get growing with super savings at Thrifty Foods BC Grown Garden Sale on now. Now for the 8 o'clock reports, here is Lisa Best.
Nice sunny day. What's to come for us, especially in the summer months? A turbulent spring could offer a preview of Canada's upcoming summer. The Weather Network releasing its seasonal forecast for the 3-month period between June and August. Senior meteorologist Doug Gillum says a transition to El Nino is expected to make it hard for hot and dry weather to lock in place over some regions.
That's a huge concern. The combination of warmer than normal temperatures and below normal precipitation during a season that is typically dry for BC. Wildfires and air quality are a huge concern for that region.
Here in BC, Gillum says the summer could be significantly warmer than normal. That doesn't mean the heat will be relentless, though. Across the region for the BC Wildfire Service, we're seeing about 20 fires and no new fires start in the past 48 hours. So wildfire situation has definitely been curbed for the time being. Ottawa is starting contract negotiations with Saab to buy a fleet of surveillance aircraft for the Royal Canadian Air Force. Prime Minister Mark Carney says the Air Force needs the jets to monitor new threats such as hypersonic missiles.
The globalized airborne surveillance capability can track objects and signals up to 650 kilometers away. And they'll share in real time that information with the Canadian forces and our allies.
The federal government had previously said it's in the market for 6 radar aircraft to help better protect Canada against threats from the sky. BC's urban mayors meeting in Victoria this week. They've called on the province to take immediate and meaningful action on the critical issues facing communities across BC. In a news release, they point to a need for stronger provincial leadership and partnerships on key priorities, including housing affordability, public safety, infrastructure funding, mental health and addictions, and homelessness response. Victoria Mayor Marinalto says nearly 2 years into the provincial government's mandate, and urban mayors are now looking to the province to follow through on their commitments. BC's Education Minister Lisa Baer says those legal errors that forced government to reinstate the 9 members of the Victoria School Board trustees that they fired last year were significant but inadvertent. BC Conservative Education critic Lynn Block bristled at that word.
Inadvertent error that came to light in the last few days. At the 11th hour, the minister released the documents. This was the minister's responsibility. As a result, government was forced to withdraw the case. This Minister of Education no longer has the trust of British Columbians. Mistakes happen, but this level of incompetence is monumental.
Baer says she intends to get to the bottom of what happened with the information requested by the court, including the cost the mistake is going to take. Experts say Alberta's secession movement is unlike others in the world.
University of Ottawa political science professor Andre Lacour says Alberta's separatist movement is different from those seen in places like the UK and Spain. Lacour says separatist movements abroad are often driven by distinct language, religion, culture, or ancestry, traits he says Alberta separatists don't share. University of Toronto professor Andrew McDougall says the movement is instead fueled by long-standing frustrations with Ottawa over energy and environmental policies. Premier Danielle Smith says those grievances have built up for more than a decade. Albertans will test that frustration in an October 19th referendum where voters will decide whether to stay in Canada or begin the process toward a binding vote on separation. David Augustine, The Canadian Press.
The Cleveland Clinic giving tips to avoid getting food poisoning this year now that grilling season is well underway. Beth Serrani says marinate food ahead of time in the refrigerator.
Don't leave your food out sitting at room temperature while you're marinating it. If that means marinating it the night before, the day of, but just making sure that if you are marinating anything, you're going to make sure that you keep it in the refrigerator.
The Cleveland Clinic says don't use the same cutting board or knives for raw meat as you do with vegetables and other fruits. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says beef, steak, chops, and roast should be heated to 145 degrees inside, while ground meat could be cooked to 106 degrees and poultry to 165. That is your news to 8:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking if you agree with the province's decision to reinstate the trustees of the Greater Victoria School Board. About 80% are saying no. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or in the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time is 8:06.
Thank you, Lisa, and good morning. Nice warm sunny day in store. We've got some humidity eventually in the air, which is going to make it feel even warmer. Highs at 23, humidex at 25.
Beautiful.
I just like saying the word humidex, actually.
I know. The real feel, as we say.
Well, we'll get you the full forecast in a moment, but right now, over to the sports. Where in the wide world of hockey, we now have a winner in the West as the Vegas Golden Knights punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final.
He has Stone on the break. He's got it.
Max Stone there, and Cole Smith scoring in the effort. Carter Hart making 20 saves. Vegas Golden Knights sweeping the Colorado Avalanche. And last night, the win was 2-1. So they go on to play who? Well, maybe the Montreal Canadiens. They need to generate more offense if they want to even their NHL Eastern Conference final against the Carolina Hurricanes tonight at the Bay Center. Montreal trailing the best-of-7 series 2-1 after back-to-back 3-2 overtime losses. The Canadiens have also been outshot 93-47 over the last 3 games. Another hockey story to talk about. Hockey Canada has begun its search for a new general manager of the women's hockey team. Gina Kingsbury says it's time to move on after 8 years of overseeing the team.
I'm good with the transition. I'm ready for it. I think it's time for someone else to, look at the landscape that has shifted in women's hockey and set up their own vision on what that could look like for the future.
Canada won an Olympic gold medal in Beijing in 2022, 3 world championships with Kingsbury as GM, but Canada fell 2-1 in overtime to the United States in the Olympic women's hockey final just back this February. Okay, let's go to the NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 1 win away from getting to the final round after they beat the San Antonio Spurs 127-114. Canada's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 32 points in last night's effort. Oklahoma City taking a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference Final. The winner of this one goes on to play the New York Knicks. And the Toronto Blue Jays and Miami Marlins will decide their 3-game series this afternoon after splitting the first 2 games at the Rogers Center. Right-hander Kevin Gausman on the mound for Toronto. Yesterday, Blue Jays hit 4 home runs in an 8-1 rout. That's your sports to 8:08. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It is 8:10 now on a Wednesday morning. Traffic and weather looking pretty typical for a Wednesday. If you see a crash, accident, or something else like that, let me know at 7:10:10. But right now, just to give you an example of the way the commute is, I'd say it's much lighter than usual for the, say, Costco area, Millstream, Trans-Canada Highway area of Langford, getting into downtown Victoria. It's taking about 35 minutes right now, which is lighter than usual on the volume front. For the BC Ferries, no sailing waits, and for the weather forecast, mainly sunny today, highs of 23. That humidex I was talking about earlier, making it feel like 25 degrees, so a bit of humidity in the air is the story there. So expect kind of just a warm feeling day today for Victoria. A few clouds tonight, lows down to 11. Then tomorrow, mainly sunny, a little bit cooler, a little bit windier if you're by the Juan de Fuca Strait, highs of 21 degrees. And that trend continues. Just sort of stable mix of sun and cloud for the next few days, but the temperatures kind of walking down a little bit. And by the weekend, highs of 17, 18 degrees, more what we'll be in. So today's the warm one, slightly cooler from here on in, but still very pleasant. Right now, the temperatures are already getting warm If you're in Colwood right now, I'm seeing 15 degrees. In Oak Bay by the water, it's 14 degrees. On the markets, S&P TSX down 114 to 34,539. The Dow is up 262 to 50,724. The Canadian dollar at 72.3 cents US, which is down just a fraction of a cent from yesterday's close. Barrel of oil down now just about $3. It was down more so earlier in the day, but it's still at $90.98 US a barrel, which is well below that $100 mark that it passed a while ago.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
So a few moments ago on the show, we were talking to somebody with the Comox Valley Regional District. I still can't get over the sewage disaster they had yesterday.
Yes.
I'd heard about this, that a big sewage leak had happened. Residents yesterday were being asked to be careful with their water use for a few hours while they figured it all out. Mm-hmm. And by the way, if you're up in the Comox Valley right now, it's back to normal for water use, is what we heard.
They said around 9 o'clock last night things got normalized, but they're still asking you to steer clear of the ocean swimming.
Because a bunch of sewage got into the water.
Right.
So we talked to the guy from the Comox Valley Regional District, and just the story he told. I want to just revisit a bit of this here.
At 9:30 a.m. yesterday morning, we had a failure of the sewer system at our Jane Place pump station, which is one of our biggest pump stations that helps to pump wastewater to our treatment plant. It's undergoing a major upgrade, and some bypass piping was installed to help take that facility out of commission so it could be worked on. And that temporary piping, an element of that the contractor was working on failed, and the full diameter line ended up discharging into an excavation. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but that hole quickly filled up and then overflowed into the intertidal zone and flowed down into the ocean. And so that started at 9:30, and we were working very hard, staff and contractors, all day to drain the hole, get access to the piping, and effect the repair.
So this construction hole fills up. What did it fill up with?
So it's the raw wastewater. So the wastewater coming from the municipalities of Courtenay and Comox all flowed through that pipe. So it was the full flow from both communities. So as you can imagine, that hole filled up very quickly,
Okay, so I don't mean to make light of this because this is horrible, but I'm just the entire sewage flow of Courtenay and Comox for a moment, all dumping into one excavation, one construction pit.
Apologies if we're ruining your breakfast.
I'm sorry. Wow, that is the most disgusting disaster that could possibly happen.
When we talk about outflow, and we're talking about when we have a lot of rain, this is what happens. And my question to him about being sick, because it can make you extremely sick. Extremely sick.
Yeah, so that's why, because again, this hole filled up in moments, as you can imagine, if it's the entire community's flow, and then it spilled into the ocean because it was right by the Comox Marina, kind of in that area, so near the water. So that's why they're advising everybody in that area, just, avoid the shoreline right now, just while it kind of clears itself out.
You don't want to touch infected water, and sometimes you can't tell because the E. coli can linger in the water without actual observation of it, as it were.
That's the story up in the Comox Valley. Yeah. Quite the drama yesterday. 8:15. What else is going on in the headlines? Here's Lisa.
There's also a drama over School Board 61. Victoria Police Chief Fiona Wilson says she was contacted the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner over communications between the BC government and Deputy Chief Michael Brown that came to light in the court case over the firing of the 9 trustees last year. The case saw those trustees reinstated to their posts after initially being dismissed when they sought to block police liaison programs in local schools. Court filings show messages referring to board chair Nicole Duncan as, quote, narcissistic moron, and that Deputy Chief Michael Brown replying with a vulgar comment on the day of the board's dismissal. The revelation led to the court reinstating the trustees. Michael Brown retired from the police department on Monday, but Fiona Wilson says that was long planned and unrelated to the case. Canada has implemented stricter travel measures in response to the Ebola crisis. The Canadian government imposing a mandatory 21-day self-isolation period for travelers from Ebola-affected regions. That includes the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and Uganda. The Public Health Agency of Canada says the risk to Canadians remain low, but this measure and the move is out of an abundance of caution. Canada eyeing a fleet of surveillance aircraft for the Royal Canadian Air Force. Prime Minister Mark Carney says the federal government is entering contract negotiations with Saab, which produces the planes in joint partnership with Bombardier. Carney says the Air Force needs the jets to monitor new threats, such as hypersonic missiles. The federal government had previously said it's in the market for 6 radar aircraft to help protect Canada against these threats. And that's your news to 8:16.
CFAX 1070 Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. At Thrifty Foods, happy is filling the garden with local flowers, herbs, and soils. Get growing with super savings at Thrifty Foods BC Grown Garden Sale. It's on now. Coming up next, we reach out to our region's largest municipality, both by sheer size and population. It's Saanich, and they have just finished adopting the Shelburne Valley Plan, which saw several revisions in recent months, including capping building heights in the Shelburne Valley Centre after residents voiced concerns over density. So what does this all mean? We're going to catch up with the mayor in just a moment. Also traffic and weather, too. If you got a crash accident or something else causing you trouble, let us know at 71010. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It is looking pretty good out there as far as the commute. I was mentioning earlier that the West Shore commute into Victoria seems lighter than usual to me. I was looking at, say, the Millstream and Trans-Canada Highway-ish area of Langford, going from about there to downtown Victoria is taking about 35 minutes on average right now, which seems lighter than usual for this time of day. If you see otherwise, do text me at 71010, but it seems like it's doing all right. No crashes, no accidents. BC ferries, no sailing waits, and the weather is probably the warmest day of the week today. Highs of 23, feeling a little humid though, so feeling warmer. A few clouds tonight, lows down to 11. Tomorrow mainly sunny, chance of wind off the Juan de Fuca Strait. But otherwise, it's just another pleasant summery kind of day with highs of 21. Cools down a bit for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Temperatures into the high teens for those days, but still mostly sunny as we head towards the final weekend of May.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Time to catch up on what's going on in the municipality of Saanich after council there officially adopted the Shelburne Valley Plan. What does that all mean? Dean Murdoch, the mayor, joining us on the line. Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. It's a nice warm day today. Great day to be thinking about getting outside and doing something. But instead, recently you've been, dealing with adopting community plans, which take a lot of time, a lot of revisions. But hey, you've got to this one. What's the Shelburne Valley Plan all about? What's going on here?
Yeah, we're thrilled to have finalized and adopted the new Shelburne Valley Plan. This is an update to a plan that was done in 2017 that applies to, obviously, the Shelburne Valley, the area along Shelburne Street and the neighborhoods around it, from Feltham, so north towards Picoles, Mount Doug, all the way up to North Derry, just at Hillside Mall. And the new plan updates what had been done in the past. So looking at areas where we want to grow, what kinds of building heights we might look at, some of the green space that we'd like to either secure or improve, including the Boker Creek Greenway. And then, of course, what are the amenities and services that folks are going to rely on, ensuring that people have good access to school, parks, shopping, and all the services that they need in order to build and enjoy their lives in the Shelburne Valley.
Now, we spoke a lot about a different area plan over the last few, it seems like years. There was the Mackenzie, Quadra Mackenzie plan, which got a lot of pushback on density and different changes. How did this one compare to that process? Was there the same kind of concerns from residents, or did this one end up being less controversial? Or give me a sense of how this one went compared to that one.
I would say yes, it was considerably less controversial. I mean, it's hard to compare. The Quadra Mackenzie plan really got, I think, started off on the wrong foot and was one that generated a lot of controversy, a lot of feedback, particularly when the initial draft looked at dedicated transit lanes on Mackenzie. A lot of that has settled, but there's still issues that council works through as we look to finalize that plan. That actually will come up for a public hearing on June 16th. So folks will have one more opportunity to weigh in on that one before it's finalized. In comparison, Shelburne proved to be much less controversial, certainly not without some issues. Council did reduce building heights in certain sections of the plan. So in most cases, you wouldn't see buildings taller than 6 stories along the Shelburne corridor. But largely, I think because the groundwork had already been laid through the 2017 plan, it was a much smoother and I think a much more collaborative and productive process.
Now, as always, it's good, I think, to clarify that these plans are just sort of a blueprint for the things that could be allowed. They're not necessarily a statement of what is happening. It's not like we're jamming a bunch of buildings somewhere. They're just like, hey, if developers want to apply to do something or, whatever is happening, here's just sort of a guideline for what we kind of pre-approve as like the way we want to see things happen. So but with that said, what kind of things do you expect to see change out of this? Like, are there, some nodes that are looking more dense? You mentioned 6-story buildings. How is that a big difference from what was there before? Give us a sense of how this changes things.
So, just to your point, and it's one that I think required clarity throughout the process. These are just plans. It's not an actual rezoning. It's not greenlighting development projects. It's a vision for what the corridors will look like. And so there is always further process involved where we would invite public input on any decision for development or changes in the corridor. But that being said, it does create a blueprint for us to follow and create expectations about what development and amenities and services in the corridors is going to look like. And largely, I think the difference between this version and what existed previously would be acknowledging 6-story wood frame is the dominant building form along the corridor. That doesn't mean into the neighborhoods, but along Shelburne Street.
As opposed to what was there before?
In a lot of cases, the plan had said 4 with the potential to go to 6.
Okay.
But it also acknowledges a range of building types that I think was absent in the previous plan. So a lot more low-rise apartment, townhouses, duplexes, triplexes, and of course incorporating what the province has allowed with small-scale multi-unit housing. And then I think importantly, some better definition around the kinds of amenities and services we would require, how we are connecting people to those services, creating a village-type atmosphere, Cedar Hill, Crossroad, and Shelburne as an example, a place where people don't just travel through, but come to spend time, where they come to get their goods, and really fostering that sense of community.
What's next for the plan?
Well, that one, now that it has been finalized, will help council make decisions or guide council through decisions that affect the corridor. There's been, as folks know, a lot of new projects going on in the Shelburne Valley, including the completion of the Shelburne Street Improvement Project, which is just about finished. That's bringing bike lanes, sidewalks, and a much improved street environment for folks along that corridor, as well as refreshing some very old infrastructure underground. All of that is just about to wrap up, and then we'll see over the course of the next few years more buildings come along, and hopefully more services like cafes, restaurants, doctors' offices, and parks and green space for folks to have and enjoy.
Texter would like to know why transit lanes allow for taxi and Uber and carpool. That's interesting. I don't actually know the answer to that. Any sense of that?
Whether those things would be allowed, I don't know the answer to that, but I can certainly check with our staff.
Sorry, just getting random texts from listeners with questions for you. I didn't know if that was something that was up as part of this. Anyways, we're talking to the mayor of Saanich, Dean Murdoch. We are looking at the finale of that particular plan for the Shelburne Valley. That's the story. That's what's changing, and in some senses not changing too much. And then anything else on it that we missed?
That I think we've covered Shelburne. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the planning process that's underway on the other side of Saanich, and that's the Tillicum-Burnside plan.
Okay, yeah.
That's a process that's underway, very similar to Shelburne, where we're looking at the Tillicum and Burnside and Gorge corridors and the neighborhoods around them. There's one more open house to take place for that. That's tomorrow night at the Gorge Pavilion between 4 and 8 p.m. And there's a survey online as well at hello.saanich.ca. Really strongly encourage anyone who lives in the area or folks who use that area regularly or maybe are looking to settle in that area to participate in the process. That will guide council over the coming years in making decisions about the future for the Tillicum-Burnside neighborhood. Great part of Saanich and an area that I think is in need of some attention, and hopefully this plan will help guide some thoughtful decisions about its future.
Mayor of Saanich, Dean Murdoch, always a pleasure. Thanks for keeping us up to date on what's going on.
Thank you, Ryan. Always enjoy the chance to chat with you.
Gotcha. We'll take a break right now. 8:30 News next on CFAX.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Join Capital Bike for Spring Go By Bike Week, May 30th to June 5th. Register and find celebration stations at gobybikebc.ca. Sign up for the Walk for Alzheimer's Sunday, May 31st at Fisherman's Wharf. More info at walkforalzheimers.ca. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 8:31 on Wednesday, May 27th. A nice sunny, warm day in Victoria with a little humidity in the air. We're going to get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, the news begins. And here is Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. Plenty of reaction in Parliament Hill in Ottawa toward that longtime Liberal MP Stephen Guilbeault is leaving Mark Carney's government.
I'm a good friend of Stephen.
Industry Minister Melanie Joly says past policies on climate change weren't perfect.
We've seen the good impacts of that policy, but we've seen also the downfalls. We need to make sure that we bring Albertans on board. Are you worried about losing a majority over environmental policies and some resignations?
No. The leader of the Green Party worries the Prime Minister has changed.
Whatever it was that I thought Mark Carney cared about relating to the climate crisis, I no longer find any traces of it in his policies.
Mike Lecoulteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Premier David Eby admits he still has anxiety about an Alberta referendum come October. However, the news conference wrapping up 2 days of meetings among the Western premiers in Kananaskis, Alberta yesterday, he feels better about the path forward.
I am really pleased that we were able to agree on language in this communique, all premiers, myself, Premier Smith, everybody across the table, that a unified Canada is what enables all of the work that we want to do together to build a strong economy, to build the kind of country that we want. In the absence of a unified Canada, we'll be poorer, we will not be as successful.
David Eby points to other referendums like Brexit that didn't work out the way many had hoped, because that would be the main reason for his anxiety. Canada's implemented stricter travel measures in response to the Ebola crisis. The Canadian government now imposing a mandatory 3-week isolation period for travelers from affected regions. That includes Democratic Republic of Congo, that is, South Sudan, and Uganda. The Public Health Agency of Canada says the risk to Canadians remains low, but they're doing it at an abundance of caution. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention doing something similar. They've sent out an urgent request to workforce to recruit personnel to screen passengers coming from affected countries.
An internal email obtained by ABC News shows Acting CDC Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya urging employees to volunteer to screen Americans returning from Ebola hot zones for possible signs of the virus. The U.S. is one of several countries tightening travel restrictions amid the rapidly growing outbreak.
This is FIFA athletes and teams descend on the U.S.-Canada for numerous games. Maybe AI won't be coming after your job after all.
Sam Altman said not too long ago that artificial intelligence would replace up to 40% of all work tasks in the not too distant future. Well, now the CEO of OpenAI says he spoke too soon. Altman tells Reuters that his fears were overblown. He says while some jobs will be eliminated, many of them ultimately require a human component, which cannot be replaced. In fact, Altman says he's gone back to writing emails himself rather than outsourcing them to AI. I'm Daria Albinger.
And Ferrari's first electric car is getting a lot of heat. It's not positive.
The company unveiled the Luce car Tuesday, and its base price of $640,000. Italy's transport minister bashed the price and said it looks like anything but a Ferrari car. The car brand's former chairman said they should take the prancing horse off the car, adding, at least the Chinese won't copy this car. Critics say it looks just like a $30,000 Toyota Prius. Shares of Ferrari dropped about 6% after the luxury automaker unveiled the car. I'm Monica Nelson.
And that's your news to 8:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question today. Do you agree with the province's decision to reinstate the Greater Victoria School Board trustees? 80% saying no. You can vote at CFAX1070.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 8:36.
Thank you, Lisa. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. At Thrifty Foods, Happy's filling the garden with local flowers, herbs, and soils. Get growing with super savings at Thrifty Foods. The BC Grown Garden Sale's on now. Warm today, some sunshine, the odd bit of cloud, but otherwise sunny with a temperature up to 23 degrees and a little mugginess in the air, making it feel even warmer. Full forecast to come. Right now, the sports. In CFAX 1070 Sports, for the Montreal Canadiens, they will try to even up the series tonight. They're down 2-1 against the Carolina Hurricanes heading into this Game 4 at the Bell Centre in Montreal. The next game will be Friday in Raleigh, North Carolina, so it'd be good to get one of the wins at home. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights, they are heading to the Stanley Cup Final with a win last night. Mark Stone and Cole Smith scoring, Carter Hart making 20 saves, and the Golden Knights swept the Colorado Avalanche with a 2-1 win last night. They win the whole thing in 4, and they will go on to the final, awaiting either Montreal or Carolina. Oh, by the way, the Memorial Cup is on. The host Kelowna Rockets play the Western Hockey League champion Everett Silvertips in the final round-robin game at the Memorial Cup tournament. The unbeaten Kitchener Rangers, who beat the Chicoutimi Saguenayens 3-2 last night, earned a berth in Sunday's final. The Rockets need a win tonight to force a tiebreaker game on Thursday. If the Silvertips win, they'll play the Saguenayens in Friday's semifinal. Toronto Blue Jays aiming to win today's rubber match of their 3-game series with the visiting Miami Marlins today. Right-hander Kevin Gausman will be on the mound for the Jays, who played long ball in beating the Marlins 8-1 last night. And at the NBA playoffs, let's take a look at that one. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 1 win away now from the NBA Finals after beating the San Antonio Spurs 127-114. Hamilton's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring 32 points last night as the Oklahoma City Thunder took a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference Final. And that is your sports to 8:38. CFAX 1070 wants to send you to see Monty Python's Spam-A-Lot at the Royal Theatre this August. Listen to Mornings with Ryan and Lisa on CFAX for your chance to win your way in. Details at CFAX1070.com. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. No major crashes or accidents right now. And we continue to see the volume delays out of the West Shore easing up a little bit. It's now taking even less time to get from, say, the Costco area, Millstream, Trans-Canada Highway area of Langford into downtown Victoria. That's the neighborhood I've been picking on today. But 30 minutes now to get into downtown Victoria as it continues to ease up. If you have any other incidents causing trouble, let me know at 71010. But there's a couple of construction things to point out. Of course, the Cook and Finlayson paving work continues. That'll continue to cause delays all this week. We've also got that gas main construction now underway. Quadra near kind of Caledonia is the epicenter, and then kind of either side of that. That'll continue this week as well, causing some delays there. For the weather forecast, looking at a mainly sunny day, highs of 23 degrees, cooler by the water, but feeling a bit humid. So in some contexts, it might feel like 25 degrees with the humidex at 25. In some contexts, you might be by the water. If you can straighten, it's 18 degrees. So it's kind of Victoria, right? Just move a few blocks away if you don't like the weather, and it'll change. A few clouds tonight, lows down to 11. Mainly sunny tomorrow. Breezy off the water. Highs of 21 expected. Mix of sun and cloud for Friday. Highs of 18. Saturday, Sunday. Mix of sun and cloud. Highs up to 17, 18 degrees. And that, by the way, will be the last weekend of May. Right now, for the temperatures downtown Victoria, your temperature right now is, let's get the update here, it's about 15 degrees. In Brentwood Bay on the peninsula, it is 17. On the markets in Toronto, S&P TSX down 61 points to 34,592. The Dow in New York is up 217 to 50,679. The Nasdaq is down 86 to 26,569. Canadian dollar at 72.3 cents US. It's virtually unchanged from yesterday's close, down just a fraction of a cent. And the barrel of oil, we've been following that. $90.71 US a barrel. It's down $3 from yesterday's close.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
And if you didn't know, you can follow Ryan and Lisa, the podcast, if you missed anything on our shows on any of your favorite podcast services. Now even on YouTube. If you want, you can watch the show on YouTube live, or you can watch clips of it. We've also got a bunch of content there if you want to find us, subscribe us, and like it, and all of that stuff.
All that stuff. You know, if you ever watch The Fireside, you know, when every once in a while the disembodied hen comes in and puts the log down.
The log. I love the log.
We're a notch up from that.
Yeah.
And we're also looking into the aquarium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to watch radio happen.
Right? Fishbowl effect.
Check it out on YouTube if you want to find us there. Of course, all the other places, the iHeartRadio app, CFAX1070.com. We're everywhere. We're nationwide.
We're not everywhere.
Just like the ZZ Top song.
We're not creeping you.
Okay.
Well played.
Actually, that's not the band you want to be listening for. You want to be listening for Motley Crue songs all this week. That's the Artist of the Week in the CFAX Summer of Rock, where you text rock, the word, R-O-C-K, to 71010 when you hear a Motley Crue song. Mm-hmm. That's how you enter to win the draw. Right. And then next week, we'll pull one of those names out of the hat or the barrel or the large receptacle we will stick all these things in, and we'll call you if you win. So that's coming next week. But Motley Crue is this week's artist for the CFAX Summer of Rock, because we have so many great rock bands coming to Vancouver. We want to send you there this summer. We've got Helijet flights. We've got Rosedale and Robson Suite Hotel accommodations, and it's all powered by the Sax Point Pub.
That's very cool. And also check July 12th, because if you win this, that's when the concert is. We want you to be able to have time to go.
We had an amazing thing happen yesterday because we called the winner for the Black Keys concert. The Black Keys play this weekend in Vancouver, and that was our first CFAX Summer of Rock artist. And we called the first winner, and they mentioned, oh, no, I'm busy that night.
She's going to Womanfest up in Coombs.
Which is great. That's awesome.
The weekend. So
but she did the honorable thing and declined the tickets, and we got to call another winner.
Who was very excited, and she said, I need the vacation.
Yeah, so that was
we're very, very thankful.
That was great.
It turned out.
But you make a good point. Double check before you text that you can go to the show.
Check the date of the concert.
You might win, and you might be like our listener yesterday who was like, "Oh, I can't go." It was pretty good. CFAX Summer of Rock continues. Powered by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt. It is 8:44, time for the headlines. Here is Lisa.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says the federal government will introduce its long-awaited AI strategy next week. Artificial Intelligence Minister Evan Solomon initially promised it would be tabled by the end of last year. The government at first signaled an adoption-focused approach, while critics said the group Ottawa had advised it on AI leaned too much on the perspective of industry and the tech sector. The public conversation around AI has shifted since the focus more on concerns about safety and social impacts. Canada, of course, strengthening its relationship with other middle powers that are more pro-regulation than the U.S. is. Former Cabinet Minister and staunch environmentalist Stephen Guilbeault is expected to inform the Liberal caucus of his departure today. Prime Minister Mark Carney thanked Guilbeault for his contributions to government. Ahead of the announcement, the Quebec MP quit Carney's government and cabinet last year after the announcement of Ottawa's deal with Alberta, which includes an agreement to work towards the approval of a bitumen pipeline. He has become increasingly disillusioned in recent months by what he calls the dismantling of climate policies under Carney's government. And stateside, the lineup for America 250 celebration revealed country music artist Martina McBride, Flo Rida, Vanilla Ice, CNC Music Factory, and Bret Michaels among those to perform at the Great American State Fair. Other artists include the Commodores, Young MC, and Milli Vanilli. Lots of blasts from the past there. The 16-day event kicking off June 25th at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. That is your news to 8:46.
Coming up next, some BC politics. The Green Party calling for a moratorium on AI data centers because they're concerned about their impact on the environment. And one of the impacts would be with water. As drought conditions worsen in places like Vancouver Island, the Green Party would like AI data centers to be kind of tamped down for water use. I guess these things are very big on water use. We've heard lots of that. But what are the exact concerns? Are we actually seeing a lot of these things popping up? I'd love to learn more. So the BC Green Party's leader, Emily Lowen, joining us next to go into that. We'll also check traffic and weather. If you've got a crash, accident, or something else causing you trouble, let us know at 71010.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Join Capital Bike for Spring Go By Bike Week, May 30th to June 5th. Register and find celebration stations at gobybikebc.ca. Sign up for the Walk for Alzheimer's Sunday, May 31st at Fisherman's Wharf. More info at walkforalzheimers.ca. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. By the way, the whole morning show is brought to you by Thrifty Foods. At Thrifty Foods, Happy's filling the garden with local flowers, herbs, and soils. Get growing with super savings at Thrifty Foods BC Grown Garden Sale that's on now. Still a fairly problem-free commute out there, at least for crashes or accidents. Paving work on Cook near Finlayson. We've got the gas main work on Quadra near Caledonia. So those couple of things. Construction projects causing some delays today, but otherwise looking good. Weather's looking good too. Mainly sunny. Highs of 23. A little humid though, so feeling a bit warmer, but feeling cooler by the water. A few clouds expected tonight, lows down to 11. And for temperatures, right now, it's warming up quickly. In Colwood right now, it's 18 degrees already. Let's see, in downtown Victoria, we're sitting at 15.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Talking BC politics now. Joining us now, she's the leader of the BC Green Party, Emily Lowen. Hello, how are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you?
Great to get you here. So we're talking water a little bit today because, as I was just mentioning, the temperatures are lovely. It's getting warm. While that's lovely to be in, sometimes it does lead us to drought concerns, particularly, here on Vancouver Island. This is something that seems to crop up every year. Other parts of BC facing the same, and it's something the BC Green Party is focusing on. What are you looking to do here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I was chatting with a farmer on the phone yesterday, and she was just praising the rain that we've gotten smattered over the last couple of days. And so certainly as drought conditions worsen across the province, I think there's this real concern that, the BC NDP are selling off our water to corporations while, telling British Columbians to not water their gardens or take shorter showers. And it feels like we don't have a long-term strategy on water. We're sort of lurching from crisis to crisis. And I think ultimately, this really ties into the government's current build first, regulate later approach that's putting corporate profits ahead of long-term water and energy security. And so the BC Greens are calling on the BC government to suspend all non-essential industrial water uses, including fracking, bottling, AI data center usage during droughts, and create a provincial framework to limit the use of fresh water in fracking and AI operations. And we also want to modernize industrial water rates. They are currently the lowest in all of Canada and mostly in North America as well. So, British Columbians really need to benefit from any sort of large-scale corporate water use. And at the local level, I really think we should be creating and funding watershed boards. So First Nations, farmers, industry, and local residents have a say in their water operations. And obviously AI was big in the news last week and this week. The BC NDP are taking direction from the federal government and pushing forward 3 TELUS AI data centers, 2 of which on prime land in the heart of Vancouver. And so, I think we really need to take a step back here. As we're entering into this period of drought, we know from all across the United States that these data centers are incredibly energy and water intensive. And so, we need to get the guardrails in place, which is why we're calling for a moratorium on AI data centers until the environmental, energy, health, and data sovereignty risks are properly understood and regulated.
You mentioned that you got those TELUS ones coming. There's a Kamloops one, the downtown Vancouver one you mentioned. So this is a real thing. We're seeing these data centers start to pop up. And can you explain?
Nanaimo as well.
Sorry, what was the other one?
Well, there's one in Nanaimo that's further along. And just as a quick tangent there, I announced the moratorium alongside local advocates and Nanaimo city councillors last week, and it was kind of appalling hearing their stories at the council level at how, yet again, the province is downloading the burden of regulation onto municipalities, which are just not equipped. They don't have the power or resources to regulate big corporations like this. Nanaimo resorted to a $60,000 ticket on the corporation if they go over their water usage limit, which, in my view, that's companies see that as the cost of doing business. It's like giving a parking ticket to a billionaire. It's really like we need those higher level guardrails in place.
This is probably an unfair question to ask of you, but can you give me a rough sense of why the AI data centers are so hard on water? Like, why do they need to use fresh water in their system? Is it about cooling, or what's going on with that?
I believe it's largely about cooling, as you said. And so, I'm not an engineer. I wish I could give you
I know it's unfair to ask you, but
bolts of it.
Yeah,
but
just for those who don't know, like, hey, why are AI data centers even needing water? It's something to do with their cooling, and I guess that's why these things are a concern when they show up. And as you mentioned, even one in Nanaimo. So this is something that touches us close at home here on Vancouver Island, where, again, like we've said, we do sometimes see these conditions. I had a text message here who says that they don't think we're in drought status here on Vancouver Island. Please list me the last time we were in a drought. I do think, Victoria is a bit different. It seems like every year we talk about this. Victoria is a bit different because we got this giant Souk Lake reservoir, which kind of helps us out and has got a huge capacity. But there's a lot of parts of Vancouver Island. Tofino goes through this all the time where they start running out of water.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just a broader issue with our energy use as well, because, our hydro system is so dependent on, drought conditions, low snowpack, early snow melt. This is all related to climate change. And so basically, like, one of my other concerns with these AI data centers is they boast that they're going to be, clean and green because they use hydro, but they use a lot of hydropower, and right now, because of drought, we're a net importer of coal-fired electricity from the United States. And so, this is just further entrenching our dependence, and we really need to be thinking about, how are we going to build up our distributed renewable energy power, all across the province to ensure that we have energy security.
So that's the call. BC Green Party would like a moratorium on these kind of things, whether they be AI data centers or other big industrial projects that use a lot of water, while we figure out, a long-term plan for drought-stricken parts of the province. Which, again, Victoria, we're a bit different. I know a lot of people in Victoria think about this and go, "What are you talking about? We got a full reservoir. Why is this even a concern?" Well, not everywhere is as lucky as we are here in Victoria with our giant Souk Lake Reservoir. We're out of time, but I wanted to do one last quick thing, just because it's making such big BC headlines and it's right here in Victoria. The School District 61 situation. We're seeing the BC government admit they didn't disclose some court documents they were supposed to. A court case by the school board trustees who were fired has collapsed, and we're getting the school board reinstated. From your perspective, the BC Green Party perspective, what's your thoughts on how this all transpired?
Yeah, I mean, firing a democratically elected school board for refusing to use hundreds of thousands in public funds to put police in schools, this was always a massive overreach of provincial power. And this ruling, the documents that we've seen out of this decision, only confirms how tainted the ministry's decision was. So I congratulate the SD 61 trustees for their victory, and I have a lot of questions for the minister, and on the policy issue itself. I think we need to zoom out, because the school districts across the board are in desperate need of full-time trained counselors in all schools. This is something that the NDP promised and failed to deliver. We only have one counselor for every 700 students. The average North American is one counselor for every 250 students. So, these are really concerning ratios for how students are getting mental health support and how we're de-escalating students in schools. So, I think there's many questions that still need to be asked as we grapple with the contents of this decision.
Hey, thanks for weighing in as we talk BC politics with the leader of the BC Green Party, Emily Lohan. We got to leave it there, though, because we're out of time, but much appreciated. Talk again soon.
Yeah, talk again. Bye.
Right at a time. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll be with you tomorrow. Lisa's got your 9 o'clock news coming up in just a moment. And thanks to Morgana Adby for producing today's show.